ground.
In a world
Get the hell up!
where Carolina Panthers fans
Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding.
have an insatiable thirst
I need to see a lot more of that shit going forward.
for Panthers news and opinions.
All my C3 brethren from the C3 Legion.
Only one podcast roars ferociously.
The longest running Panthers podcast on the internet.
It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Oh, Greg, I owe y'all $100, man.
Panther fans, well, not Panther fans. The Panthers are fighting in practice while fans are hoping they're fighting for relevance at this point. Carolina's coming off of 2 preseason games, heading into the third most meaningless one where guys are fighting to make the team. It's going to be all the guys that are getting cut. But the Panthers look bad against the Houston Texans. They didn't look great in week 1, but there was some signs of life on the first team offense. Week 2, an abysmal 3 yards, 3 offensive yards, I think. Maybe even -3 at my point. Who knows? Nothing looked good, really, for the Carolina Panthers, while the defense was not as awful as it was last year. Fans are wondering, is this just camp? Or is this something more? We'll be looking into it tonight. We've got Joe Person coming on from The Athletic at 9:30 tonight to help us figure out what's going on in Panthers training camp, what this fight symbolizes, if the Panthers have some fight in them, or if they're already fighting for their lives at this point. And let's just hope homeboy didn't break his hand while he tried to punch a lineman. Oh my gosh. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. Is Carolina fighting for the season or just showing fight is tonight's show? And I'm happy to, I'm happy to be here always. And I always do it with my wheelman, Cody Lack. How are you, my friend?
Tony Dunn, the Panthers know how to fight, but do they know how to win? That's what we are wondering after 2 abysmal preseason performances. A lot of discussion about how much panic there needs to be amongst Panther fans right now. It's definitely going to lead to a fantastic conversation. As you already know, there's nowhere I'd rather be on a Tuesday night than sitting here with my boys talking Panther football. We're ready to ask some questions of Joe Person. I'm sure he has some great insights into all things Carolina Panthers. And Tony Dunn, as per usual, you know we're going to do this with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube. We got the blind Panther, Joey Esquivel, the brand ambassador, D's Ill Skills, Dougie124, our man JD in the building, G Baby in the house, Harvey London, Just Link, our girl Kristen Butler, Padawan Panther, Palmetto Panther, Panther Gal, Panther Pickle, and the Hope Dealer. Tony, we got all the Panthers in the house. You already know it's time to do the C3 Panthers podcast. And nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. And as always, well, get your calls in. Thank you for subscribing to the show. Thank you for hanging out. You can be a C3 super fan for $1.99 a month. Make sure you continue to help spread the word as we lock arms and try to remain Panther fans. Good Lord. It's a struggle, but it's never a struggle hanging out with the Golden Pipes. CK, good to see you.
Man, I wasn't here to react to the Panthers game. And quite honestly, I was at my son's soccer practice watching that on my phone. And the cool thing is the moment that the starters went out, I was able to put my phone away and not think twice about the game. I saw a lot of people overreacting. I saw a lot of people, maybe when I say overreacting, I think it legitimately is an overreaction to see what we saw from this team in preseason. So I don't know, man. I know that this team has left a lot of people feeling snake bit in the past, but I just don't think it's time to push the panic button when we have seen too many things moving in the right direction for us to just jump right on that train of assuming this is going to be a bad team. I think they are still learning who they are, and I'm excited to see what happens. Still concerned about the defense. I think there's some some things that still need to be improved on that side of things from even if it means systematic changes. But man, I'm just happy that we're talking about Panthers football, even though we're not going to be talking about real Panthers football for a few more weeks.
Well, we got a lot to talk about, and we will be getting into that. Are these overreactions? Are they, or is this smoke? Is this the smoke that indicates fire? And you know what? I got a lot to say on all of that as we get into it. But guys, let's go ahead and jump into tonight's show. We got Joe Person at 9:30, so let's get through some material so we can make the most out of that 20 minutes that we get with him. Is Carolina fighting for the season or showing some fight? Well, I guess I almost feel like it would be important to talk about what happened today, but I guess we got to set it up with this. Is on Saturday, 1 p.m. 1 p.m. game in Houston. What is that, a noon kickoff for them? Or early kickoff.
Yeah.
Like you had the excitement of Carolina trotting out their offense for a second time. The optics of Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, the dual quarterbacks of the draft 3 years ago. And Carolina's going against a talented Houston team that's worked very hard to rebuild their defense or build it up in the last few years. And the Carolina Panthers struggled, Cody. They did not score anything but a field goal in this game. And this is our boy Anthony Rizzuti from Panthers Wire. He said, the starters have an uninspiring performance, was his line here. While the preseason can be exhaustive time filled with overreaction, Carolina starters didn't do much to inspire some hope moving forward. The donkey of the day was the first team offense, which amassed all of 3 net yards on only 2 possessions. Quarterback Bryce Young on the very first play from scrimmage threw an interception that was called back. Some people said, where a lot of people are of the belief that he knew that he could do on that play, so that's the best case scenario. Then he was failed by the hands of tight end Janavian Sanders on what would have been a chain moving completion after 3rd and 8. Carolina was turned away on a 3-and-out in their second touch. That drive ended on a sack from Texans defensive end Mario Edwards. You guys were watching the show live and reacting to it, or the game live. I'm kind of with CK is I watched the starters about as closely as I could. I put my phone down, had left it on at times, checked back in at different times, watched the beginning of the third, watched the third quarter, I think, a little bit of the third quarter. But I think I checked out, dude, when I checked in. I checked in with the show, and Taylor Moton was on his back.
You checked in and checked out?
Checked in your reaction, checked out of the Carolina Panthers game. Taylor Moton flat on his back, no helmet, bull rushed. Really, that was kind of an image representative of what happened to the Carolina Panthers offense that day, guys.
Yeah, it was abysmal. It was abysmal. The starters did not look good. And, now, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but now we're sort of starting to have these conversations of how much are these preseason games indicative of what is going to happen in the future. And, the past few years in a row, Tony, we do this thing where we talk about, hey, man, don't freak out about preseason football, because basically we have nothing else to hold on to, right? The Panthers for the past few years maybe will be lucky to win one preseason game, and then we don't win anymore, and we tell ourselves, hey, wait a minute, it's just preseason. Don't worry about it. Don't freak out. Only to get into the season and then have the season look exactly like what preseason football looked like. I think that Panther fans, for the most part, have a little bit of PTSD right now. It's like, hey, man, we always get so excited before the start of the season, and we're starting to see a lot of similar things that just remind us of the prior trauma that we've been suffering the past few years. So it's it's really, really hard to know what to make of this because, we're running vanilla offenses, we're running vanilla defenses, but I don't know. There's that same trepidation that's starting to creep in on us right now. And I want to shout out and give some love to another legendary Panthers content creator who really said it best a couple of years ago, man.
It's just camp. It's just camp. It's just early. It's still camp. It's still early. It's just camp. It's still early. It's just camp. It'll be the same folks. It's just week 1. It's just week 2. Wait till after the bye week. It's just week 7. It's just week 8. Oh, they starting to come along in week 10. I knew it. I knew it. They just needed a season together. It was COVID. It's just early. It's still camp. It's just camp. It's still early. It's just camp.
CK, our boy D Young 33 said 100% on CK's take. This is always a discussion that happens in the preseason is how indicative this of what the team really can do. You hear, oh, well, we don't got the starters together. They don't have everybody together. They're vanilla play calling, this and that. I think that where we're at, CK, is we're trying to balance that in the context of the team being awful for so long. It's not that a poor preseason showing is a referendum on a season in its own right, but it is where is it? Where do you get any glimpses of things moving in a direction, a positive direction? So much of any optimism in the team reset this year was in the last 2 games of the season last year where Bryce turned it around, right? So really your optimism comes or any source of hope really seemed to come from the ideas that Bryce is not toast, that there is there's an ability for the team to progress, and you're seeing a sign of it. The problem is at what point CK does it become real data in a sense? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not freaking out. I'm not freaking out any more than I was last week or 3 months ago or last year. I mean, I'm still just as freaked out and shell shocked as it has been for the last 6 years as a Panther fan. And with that idea of vanilla offenses, this is that, all these different things. Aren't the other teams that are beating that ass? That's what they're doing to us? I mean, really, it's just, I know you don't want to just throw everybody on the bus. I don't think so. I don't know what to expect, but when do we see signs of life?
I think from the offensive perspective, we saw signs of life last week, right? And it's hard to look at this week and not look at the 2 drives that stalled out because of, in all honesty, mental errors, right? It did feel like the play calling was a problem too, so, you do have these guys pulling the play calling back. As an example, there was one play that the Bryce Young, rush that he scrambled for 2 yards to bring up a 2nd and 8, right? They did max protection and had 2 people going down to try to get the ball. And there was in such great zone coverage, there was nowhere to throw the ball to. And so somehow, even with max protection, having 5 people down the field and everybody else back protecting, the pocket broke down and Bryce Young had to escape and he wasn't able to get very far. So, I think that there was like stuff like that just felt like it wasn't very smart play calling that came into play. But at the same time, there was players not executing. You had drops, you had penalties, you had I think there was some pre-snap penalties. This defense still looks like it is just being run through, even though again, Derek Brown only played 3 plays. There are concerns. I'm not going to say there's not concerns with what we're seeing in preseason. I just don't subscribe to the idea that we need to hit the panic button. There is no reason at this point in time to go ahead and just sell your season tickets and say that the season's done. There is nothing that is worth that type of pessimism. And while there are people who are going to use the last 10 years as evidence that preseason is an indicator of how the season's going to go, I could probably point to many of the best teams in the NFL having a mediocre preseason. I don't think it matters as much as people want to make it.
Well, one team you can't do that with is the Baltimore Ravens, who hadn't lost a preseason game in like 10 years, and they've been pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I have a hard time with the idea of pressing the panic button when I've been sitting on the panic button for 6 years. Is the button's broken, dude. There is no more. I busted the button with the panic.
Well, our natural state of being is panic, right now. Like everything until we see something otherwise, we really don't have the confidence this team is going to be a playoff contender, right? Nobody is thinking that. There's people who are optimistic that could be a possibility, but there is not anybody that's going to go and put money down, any substantial money down, with the belief that the Panthers are going to get to the Super Bowl or get to the playoffs even. But we all do think that this team is going to be improved. And if you're operating with that mindset that this team is going to be better than it was last year, I think that we're going to continue to make those baby steps, and this team could, over the next 2-3 years, become real contenders in the NFL. I just don't know that that's happening this year. And preseason, while it's not necessarily going to give us an exact replica of what this team is going to look like come, week 1 in the NFL, I do think that it is showing some of the same patterns we've seen from this team over the past 3 years when it comes to the defense. And I think that's worthy of acknowledging. And I said it after week 1. I'm not completely, I'm very much of the mindset that there is a real possibility that Evero is gone after week 3.
Yeah. Shout out to Panthers Gal 7399. Do you have any highlights of the new QB? I think there is a good clip we can show later in the show of him throwing a deep ball, one-handed catch to Jimmy Horn Jr. Cody, let's look over some of the stats from the game, some of the things from the offense and the defense real quick. We'll bust through this. Joe Person here in about 10 minutes, so let's rock through fan reactions too before he gets here, so we can ask him: is this panic time? Is the team? Are they fighting each other? Are they getting frustrated? Because Panther fans are frustrated to a certain degree.
Yeah, certainly. Looking at this game, Bryce Young only played 7 snaps before the first team offense was done for the day. It was the fewest amount he's played in a game. And I do not believe he is playing, unless somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen anything saying that they will be playing versus Pittsburgh. So
I don't think they're playing like any of the starters in week 3.
Yeah, which I'm okay with. I am fine with. Yeah. But it was the fewest amount he's ever played in a game. Some positives, though. Running back Trevor Etienne had the most carries of the day with a total of 7. It was K-Ron Lynch-Adams who picked up the most yards, though, but finishing with 27 yards over 5 carries. I do think that Trevor looked good, though, on the snaps.
Because he had a big run, Cody, that was called back on a Brady Christensen hold, which was a ticky-tack hold, too.
Yes,
I agree. Very ticky-tack hold.
Everybody wanted to be like, oh, look, you got holding. But, dude, it was a bullshit call. Rico Dowdle topped out at 18.47 miles per hour, the fastest speed of any Panthers player this Saturday. Bryce Tremaine finished as the leading receiver with 3 catches on 4 targets of 46 yards. Tremaine had a long of 23 yards, which was also the longest pass play of the day for the Panthers. None of the quarterbacks looked good, boys. None of them looked good. Let's go ahead to the defense. Safety Damani Richardson, the linebacker Jacoby Windman, tied for the most tackles on defense. He's with 6 total. Richardson had 5 solo tackles. Of Wyndham, 6 tackles, 5 were in the run game, the most of any Panthers defender. Christian Roseboom notched the only sack of the day. 5 guys picked up at least 1 quarterback hurry, and Prince Mulan had 2. Remind me, Ellen. Corner Corey Thornton was tied to Shamar Bartholomew for the most targets in the passing game. It's seeing 5 balls. Thornton and Caleb Evans allowed the lowest catch percentage of any defensive backs who saw 2 or more targets. Allowed no catches on 2 targets. Thornton allowed 2 catches on 5 targets, a 40% catch rate. And Derek Brown played only 3 snaps, the fewest of any defensive player, but it was the first time he's played snaps in a game since week 1 of the 2024 season when he suffered a meniscus tear.
Panthers struggled in the preseason, and it's look, there's going to be a lot of talk, or we'll jump into these fan reactions right now. Is the one thing is that this was I think the time that the Panthers, the ones you mentioned CK earlier, that there was signs of life, and there were, man. We were excited about something like Tet in week 1. Bryce made some good plays. But in retrospect, and I'm not like, again, I mean, you want to take whatever good things you can and build on them. So you don't want to just throw them out the window and find reasons to not be optimistic about them.
Sure.
But if we look back, is that our first team was playing against their second and third team defense in that scenario. This was a time where our first team offense played against the first team defense in the Texans. This is when Stroud, our defense, played against the top. We had a bad special teams play that put us in a bad position. I don't think the scores are very important in the preseason. But it was they struggled, right? They struggled, and that's clear. And the question that becomes is this indicative of what's to come, or is this just something that fans with a little PTSD or a lot of PTSD latch on? This is some reactions on Reddit right here. Someone posted a discussion and said, "Relax, everyone. I understand that everyone is freaking out with the bad look from our starting offense on Saturday, and I agree it was a bad look. This is the preseason, folks. It doesn't matter. It's just camp. It's still early." That's that line right there. At no point in either game have we had all 11 starters on the field for either side of the ball. We've not had Canales or Evero calling plays. Okay, we'll take that as all. There could be truth. What is their idea? Like, I mean, at what point, though, are you going to have all 11 starters on both sides of the field?
That part that's a hard one. Like, because you're not going to get into a situation where everybody is always healthy 100% of the time.
You got to make do, right?
That's the point of getting depth. And that's where coaching, I think, is the biggest asset to a team, is being able to maintain a high level of performance, no matter how far into the depth chart you have to go, outside of maybe quarterback.
The Redditor continues, Canales has been too indecisive about sitting the starters during the games. Let's be honest, a series or two in a preseason game is meaningless regardless of how they looked. In my opinion, they should either play a half or not at all. I kind of like that idea, is like the whole half. I mean, and I almost am like the idea of like, you just play this second week, just play them for a whole half and be done with it.
Yeah. We
should be looking at both games as a practice, with one being good and one being bad. I'm not saying sniff some new copium or hopium, but take a breath and don't, or not overreact. Platish GC comes, and most people in Reddit on this thread were of this opinion. They were of, hey, come on, it's the preseason. It's just camp. It's still early. Platish GC responds, it's not really overreacting that much when you saw what happened in our first 2 games last season. The offense looked completely out of sync and not ready to play competitive football. It's just not a controversial opinion to have one of them to play more in the preseason this year and be ready to go week 1. And they don't look ready to go. Very first play of the game Saturday, XL looks all confused, doesn't know where he's supposed to be. Cody, let's power through with the next 2 comments, because our guest, I'm assuming, I'm expecting will be here soon. Oh, I thought I had a couple of tweets somewhere. There we go. At JG Hassel, John Hassel on Twitter or X, says, that was about as garbage ass a Panthers game as I've ever seen. Starters look terrible. I think you have to be at least on yellow alert at this point. And at Nick Teens 1 says, remember, Panther fans, the Lions once upon a time went 4-0 in the preseason, then went on to go winless in the regular season. No need to overreact, right? So, guys, I mean, as we continue to deal with and grapple with that question, is maybe it's not, what is your reaction? How about that? Let's not overreact. Let's not underreact. Let's not dismiss. What is your reaction to what you have learned about the Carolina Panthers so far through training camp, or what you believe it indicates about this team? Joe Person should be here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I'll jump in here first. So listen, man, it's not like I'm overreacting, but I'm just using the past couple of years to inform how I feel right now. I'm not pumped going into this season that this is going to be a great team. I'm just not. I'm not, and it's not like I think that they're going to be terrible, but I swear on everything, Tony. You have heard me say this multiple times in a number of different years now. It's prove it season. It's prove it season. And again, I'm not going to get all my hopes up for this team just to let them back down again. Right now, I think we're probably going to be picking top 10 until they prove me otherwise. If you want to call me a pessimist, fine. I say I'm being a realist. I think that right now most Panther fans feel some type of way about Ejiro Evero and this defense and how it feels like we're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. I mean, even CK, the optimist of the group here, thinks that Evero could be fired after week 3. Mm-hmm. So I really just don't have a ton of pumped up feelings that, man, we're going to come out here guns a-blazing, especially when our defense is, even though it's preseason, they're giving up 20 to 30 points in preseason, and everything that we did last year, knowing that we opened with the Jaguars and they just got a brand new offensive weapon in the form of Travis Hunter. So I need the Carolina Panthers to show me something. I need Dave Canales to show that he has some fight in him. I need Bryce Young to show that he has some fight in him. You know, we're already getting reports that there are players on our team that definitely have some fight in them. I want to see more of it, and I want to see them win football games before I start really giving them a big endorsement on what they might be this year.
Cody, you said CK was the optimist. Do you guys believe that I've been pessimistic, though? Or, I mean, I feel like I'm just making a few observations.
No,
I don't even know if I have an opinion even on this. Is like,
I would just say out of the three of us, CK probably gives the team the most runway. But no, okay. I don't think that you've been overly pessimistic. No.
CK, I don't even know if I'm I feel like it was particularly heading into this game. I kind of just as of the opinion, like, is that the preseason is the preseason.
Yeah.
And the Panthers are going to be fighting and clawing every week. I think I'm with you in a sense, as in, like, what the hell is this really? Is this going to, don't sell your tickets, don't cancel the podcast, you know, that type of thing. But I felt like I said this a couple of weeks ago, maybe. It's just the exhaustion. It's just the sheer exhaustion of, like, as I look towards trying to talk about some certain things about this team, that when is it that we get a momentum point, right? So we'll come back to this in just a moment because we've got a limited time, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Every Tuesday night, we're chopping up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. The show tonight's been focused on the preseason, overreactions, underreactions, and a little fighting. Tonight's show is Carolina fighting for the season or just showing fight. We've got Joe Person from The Athletic to help us. I guess I don't even know if I say calm us down, right? Because I don't even know where we feel. Like many Panther fans, a little just continued shell shock for 6 years of all of this. It's been a struggle. But Joe Person, thanks for joining the C3 Panthers podcast, man, and giving your time tonight.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Camp. We showed. Hey, can you? Will you show Joe the clip real quick of Pat Coltrane?
It's just camp. It's just camp. It's just early. It's still camp. It's still early. It's just camp. It's still early. It's just camp. It'll be the same folks. It's just week 1. It's just week 2. Wait till after the bye week. It's just week 7. It's just week 8. Oh, they starting to come along in week 10. I knew it. I knew it. They just needed a season together. It was COVID. It's just early. It's still camp. It's just camp. It's
Joe. What have you gotten from camp so far and the Panthers' 2 preseason performances?
Well, camp's over. That's today. They wrapped up in an interesting fashion. That usually, when we would go down to Spartanburg, you guys know it would usually be about the second week of camp and be hot down there, and finally things would boil over. Whether it was Steve Smith and Thomas Davis would get into it, and then Josh Norman and Cam Newton famously. But I think this year was kind of delayed on this fighting because the weather, it was felt like September in Seattle all month until, and even today, it was not a matter of getting hot and that kind of thing. But I know you guys weren't out there, but they were scheduled to have an 8-play team period, 8 to 9 plays to wrap it up. And it was getting so intense. And I think Canales was really liking the competition that he said he added, basically it doubled to about 16 plays. And by the end of it, guys were just salty, pushing, shoving, swinging, yelling. And, as long as somebody's not hitting their fist upside of a helmet and breaking bones in their hand, I'm good with it. This team needs a little fight. This team needs a little edge. And, let's see if they can roll this into Jacksonville week 1.
What do you think about the team? Oh, go ahead, CK.
I was going to say, I can confirm we were not out there, including my drone, by the way.
Oh, by the way, that's Drone Gate. If you remember
that.
Joe, what do you think about the team going into 6 years? Look, we've been doing this podcast for 14. This is, I think, a 14th year doing it now, and it's been a slog. It's tough to you're a professional sports writer, and it can't be always. It's not always rainbows and sunshine, certainly, but it's been hard work for us to get up here, and I'm sure for you. To continue to draw interest in things like here. But what do you think about the Panthers 2025 season team? Just the team, where they're how they're coming in, so much optimism or a little optimism off that final performance of the year last year with Bryce Young, some exciting defensive players drafted. But really, just give us the nitty gritty. What's the story of this team?
Well, that's to be determined. I think there's definitely room and reason for optimism on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, Bryce Young, you just mentioned it, ends the season on an upswing. They gave him another playmaker in Teteroa McMillan, choosing to go that route. And I think Bryce, listen, let's be honest. I think Bryce had a big influence in that pick. And he works out with McMillan out in California. He starts calling Dave Canales and Dan Morgan. And, they were already scouting the kid. It wasn't like, oh, wow, now he's on our radar. But I do think ultimately the decision to give your young franchise quarterback another weapon is not the worst idea. I mean, frankly, I remember in this town, we all complained that Marty Herney and Dave Gettleman didn't do enough of that for Cam Newton. So they do that. The line looks terrific. I know Damian Lewis hasn't been out there, but I think Cade Mays, after he lost that center competition, he slid right over to left guard. And the line's great. I mean, they protected Bryce last year. I expect him to do the same this year. Icky occasionally will have a slip up, but that's going to happen in the National Football League. You guys know, defense, it's hard to be bought in on this defense. And I think some of it is PTSD from last year, as we all, at week in and week out, we saw teams gash them in the running game. They'd be third and short, so there'd be no pass rush and up and down the field to the tune of 3,000 rushing yards and 400 and whatever points it ended up being. So, the defense can't be any worse. They get Derek Brown back. I like the new safeties a lot. I think Ransom and Merrick are those dudes are dogs. Dan Morgan wanted dogs. Those two fit the bill. They might not have they're not slow, but they're not like the prototypical rangy safeties, but they will come up and they will hit you. And so we'll see. I mean, they're definitely more interesting. I think there's more reason for optimism than in some recent years.
You touched on the defense a little bit there, Joe. And, the Carolina Panthers have really given defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero a lot of leeway, especially after their defense last year gave up the most points in NFL history. Dan Morgan and that whole front office and Dave Canales felt like they didn't give Ejiro Evero the necessary pieces to field a competent defense, and very much gave him the benefit of the doubt. It seems as though that Dave is still doing that by saying that he isn't really watching the defense that much, that he's pretty much leaving that to the defensive coaches. How hot is it Ejiro Evero's seat this year? And do you think that they've made the necessary additions on the defensive side of the football to actually give him the right pieces to finally run this 3-4 defense effectively?
Yeah, it's a great question. It is the question surrounding this team. I mean, in my mind, the most important one. Listen, Ejiro Evero is a well-respected guy around the league. Like, I'm not going to sit here and champion for him. I mean, he got head coaching interviews here and elsewhere. And so giving him this third season, I didn't have a big problem with it. The personnel last year was lacking. I mean, look, they had the tough. Every team gets injured. I get it. Like, no one's making excuses, but losing Derek Brown and then Shaq Thompson a couple of weeks later for the season, like, that was tough. And so I didn't have a problem giving Ejiro a third year, but of course the seat's hot. Like, they don't have a ton of guys on that defensive staff. I mean, they have some guys with experience, like, but if they had to make a change, but let's not even go down that route. Like, let's hope for Panthers fans' sake that the defense plays a lot better, and they're not talking about, any sort of, if there's a midseason change at defensive coordinator, this season is going to be a disaster. So hopefully that's not the case. Your second part of the question, they did spend a lot of money. I mean, Dan Morgan, a year after he rebuilt that line, he's like, I'm going to do the same offensive line. This year, I'm going to do the defensive line. And they missed out, obviously, on Milton Williams. I think that would have been a great get. But I think it allowed them to do a little more. Like, maybe they don't get Pat Jones and Turk Wharton and Bobby Brown if they sign Milton Williams to that huge, $90 million deal or whatever it was he got in New England. So they're a little light at linebacker. I kind of thought they were light even with Josie Jewell. And then that jarring news at the start of camp with Josie, unfortunately, and his post-concussion symptoms. And so, could they add there like a cut downs? Maybe. I don't know if it'd be anybody that would be an upgrade over Christian Rosaboom, but can't get any worse defensively. So we'll see.
Short follow-up, Diana Rossini put out a report that the Panthers have been in talks to potentially trade for Trey Hendrickson. Do you believe there's any validity to that report? And could Dan Morgan and Brent Tillis make another addition before the start of the season?
I'd be surprised. I don't doubt the reporting at all by Diana. She's a terrific colleague, and I like working with her. And Dan Morgan, he and Scott Fitter are kind of the same mold, cut from the same cloth in Seattle under John Schneider, that they're going to turn over every stone. And, I know Fitter famously said in on every deal. I don't think Dan Morgan's like that, but I think he is going to pick up the phone and call Cincinnati and see kind of what the asking price is. I think it's going to be too high, because you're talking about having to give up some, draft capital, and then you're going to have to pay Trey Hendrickson. And then, oh, by the way, he's really more of a traditional 4-3 defensive end than he is a 3-4 outside linebacker. So,
and he's 31, I think, or 30.
I don't think it's happening. I mean, and here's the other thing. This defense isn't one player away from being like a championship defense.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't do that kind of expenditure.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I would make the point, and I'll ask my question, but I think it's a valuable follow-up to this. we need to see Evero be able to have a defense that is at least average before you start providing ammunition, and then hoping that it sticks. But my question is going to go more towards this offense and what many people have been saying has been a much improved offense. We saw Bryce Young come alive towards the end of the year last year. We saw that drive a couple weeks ago that really made a lot of us incredibly excited. The decision to only play 2 series and 2 different games in the preseason, it just feels to many fans, myself included, that is a mistake. And when you even rewind to last year, the slow start this team had, they didn't have any starters play in preseason, if I'm recalling correctly. Do you subscribe, or what is your take in having experienced the preseason through multiple regimes, multiple years? Do you really feel as though the risk of preseason and playing starters during that time outweighs any potential reward for this team to start to mesh and really get a rhythm going?
I don't like the decision. I really don't. I would have been okay with it if they had, if Canales had followed through with his plan to play him more like 3 series at Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he really liked the vibe that was going on. And I asked him point blank, was it because of the protection? Because that second series, Bryce got flushed out of the pocket, and I think he got sacked. And both tackles were beaten on the play, I believe. I know Moten was. And so I don't know. And starters played 1 series, preseason series last year, and it was at Buffalo. And they went down the field against like the Bills' second and third team defense. And that was it. That was all Rob Hunt played. That was all Corbett played, all of them. And especially, and most importantly, Bryce Young. And so I don't know. They got 4 series this year. It's, a little more, but I don't know. I'd have played them. I would have played them 1 more series against Houston and try to get out of that game on a, feeling good about yourself like they did at the end of the regular season in Atlanta. And then you want to sit them this week? Absolutely. I don't have a problem with that, but I don't know, man. They did 6 reps, 6 offensive snaps at Houston, and then we're good. Let's go to Jacksonville. So,
do you think any fear started to creep in as players have started to get a little nicked up in camp? What I mean? Like the typical, you're getting these guys nicked up, and it really, and for people that are, all these Panther fans out there is everything that all the optimism continues to come around with if the starters are all there. Right. Like, it seems like really once you get behind and that's never going to happen. And with a great team, great teams have to stay healthy. Great teams find ways to, get through injuries and different things. Nobody thinks that the Panthers, or at least I don't believe, are going to go on a Super Bowl tear, like, or something to that effect. But it really does feel like everything getting better is contingent on everything going right with all the starters. Do you think that there is a little bit, as you see some of these guys, Damian Lewis, get a little shoulder, or he's dealing with a shoulder struggle, that they're kind of going, hell, we need these starters there so badly? Do you think that may have crept into some of that decision making?
Yeah, certainly health is part of the calculus when they're making these plans for the preseason. And like, I get it. And, people were tweeting at me the other night when Buffalo was getting killed, and like, well, you know what? Does Josh Allen need to play in their 3rd game? Because they listen, we're not comparing the Bills and Panthers. We're not going to do this.
Don't watch Hard Knocks, Panther fans, because you'll see former Panthers. You'll see them at college. It'll just make you see Brandon Bean. Right. I was in my feelings watching those first 2 seasons of Hard Knocks. Continue, sorry, Joe.
No. So my point was, you want to go into week 1 healthy, and I get it. And this team has been healthy in camp. You mentioned Damian Lewis. He and Tremble have been the most serious, the players with the most serious injuries. And in fact, I asked Canales today being Tuesday, for an update on both of those guys. I really hadn't heard much about either of them recently. I haven't seen Lewis. I think he's rehabbing inside, but Tommy Tremble's running around very well. Like he's running full speed, but he needs to get some contact. I mean, lower back surgery is no joke. And so he's got to go through that next phase. They're still acting like it's possible he could play week 1. We'll see. I mean, he's a big piece. Like, I like JT Sanders a lot in the pass game. He is not kind of the, end line tight end or inline tight end that Tremble can be at times. Mitch Evans, I think he's going to be okay as a rookie, but anyway, Tremble's a big piece. So, and I don't think they're going to put him on IR or anything. I think if he's not ready week 1, I get the impression they feel like it'll be soon thereafter. And then Damian Lewis, same kind of thing. Like Canales said, like, I feel good about him, but I'm not saying 100% Jacksonville, but they really, when you think about it, other than Josie Jewell, which I mentioned earlier, like, let's not sugarcoat that. That was a pretty big loss. But since then, they've been pretty healthy throughout this summer.
All right, guys, we only got a couple more minutes, so let's rock through your final questions. Couple more. Go ahead, Cody.
Yeah, you had reported today that Dave Canales had the offense run 2 sprints and that he was not happy with the execution as of late. I think a lot of us are kind of wondering what Dave Canales looks like mad, because he's kind of this jovial young guy, who doesn't really ever seem to get upset by much of anything, even after 2 losing performances in the playoffs. Can you speak a little more about what prompted him to do that? And, what exactly does Canales look like when he's not happy with the execution of his team?
He still looks happy.
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
Everybody wants to marry Dave Canales.
Hey, I'm glad you brought that up, because I actually tweeted that and I just assumed it was Canales. And then afterwards in our scrum, he said, no, you know what? He said that was Bryce and Chuba's idea, because they've been having these pre-snap penalties, motion and false starts mostly. They've had them against the Browns. They had them against the Texans. And so somebody jumped today. I couldn't tell where we were sitting. And so Chuba and Bryce, all they did, it was one gasser across the field and back. So let's not make too big a deal about it. But in fact, I thought it was interesting. Canales said, I don't really like running as punishment. We do enough physical stuff. I don't want to add to their plates. He said, but it was important to Chuba and it was important to Bryce, and good for those guys. Like, I don't want to minimize it. Like, that was a good show of leadership for a team that this is a young team for the most part on both sides of the ball, especially on defense. But so good on them for showing some leadership and, doing that. It kind of brought back memories of the old Matt Rule sign. What was it?
DBO.
Don't beat ourselves.
How about don't remind me?
Yeah. So a couple.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
No, I think if I'm being honest with that, I think Dave Canales is it's really bad timing with that coinciding with the second episode of the Carolina Panthers. I guess their review of the 2015 team when Ron Rivera was laying it into them during the preseason game after I think it was Buffalo, maybe Miami. And so it was, you see 2 stark different coaches with that. So I think Dave Canales is going to be fighting an uphill battle, being that just happened to come out just days before this happened. But so one of the people in the chat, infamously, you probably are familiar with him, Panther Pickle, is interested in asking, do you think that Latham Ransom is starting this year at free safety?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if it'll be week 1, but that transition with Nick Scott is going to happen. I like Latham Ransom. He's, like I said earlier, like he and Merrick, they might get, there might be some games they give up some deep balls. Like I do think, their first instinct is coming forward aggressively. And so maybe there's a rotation in there where Damani Richardson plays some too. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of get why Canales is playing Nick Scott right now. I mean, you guys saw his explanation from down in Houston. It was he likes the idea of Nick Scott, kind of helping Merrig and Ransom get adjusted to the defense because Nick was here last year and helped communicate all this stuff. I get it. But I don't. If he starts week 1, I don't think it'll be much after that the transition's made. And it may be made before then.
Joe Person with The Athletic here, hanging out for just a couple more minutes. On August 16th, just 3 days ago, I guess that would be, you posted the 53-man roster projection on The Athletic. Everybody go subscribe. I've been a subscriber since it started. It's like I'm almost kind of mad you guys sold out. Not sold out, but like are with the New York Times, because it doesn't say The Athletic when you look at the line, like when you post a link as the New York Times, right? And then it takes you to The Athletic and things like that, because it says New York Times /Athletic now. That's just like a small thing, but still real journalism out there, folks. But you posted the Panthers 53-man roster projection. Any thoughts since then? Do you have any revisions to your thoughts on this, of like if you are going to go back and tweak this now? I know you're going to do that probably. You're probably working on that right now as we speak, in a sense. Is anything in your mind that you're looking at from that projection that you're keying in on maybe as a change or doubling down on as confident?
No, that's a great question. And I'll give you one on both sides of the ball. I think, and this is relatively minor. I mean, look, the 53-man spots, we're really only talking maybe about 7 guys every year that are 7 or 8 that are kind of up in the air. But it looks like a Caleb Evans at backup corner has passed Shamar Bartholomew.
Okay.
And Bartholomew had that rough outing Saturday at Houston. Just some tough coverage, got beat on a touchdown, just one of those days. I mean, and so I think, and a Caleb Evans, a guy, remember his background. He was with the Packers. I mean, he had some years where he had, started some games in this league. But more than anything I think he's a better special teams player. He might be their best gunner. So I had him getting cut. I'm going to probably put him on my next one. And then on offense, I had them trying to sneak Bryson Tremaine onto the practice squad. I still don't know how they're going to keep 7 wideouts. But if they do, I think it'll be Bryson Tremaine, with that 7th spot ahead of David Moore. Renfro makes it and Tremaine make it instead of Renfro and David Moore.
We got 2 final questions for you. One, because the last couple, or one is, I mean, again, we've been doing this 14 years. Cam hasn't been on this team for a while now, but we always joke around is they call me a Cam sexual. He's my second favorite player of all time when it comes to the Panthers. Julius Peppers being the most. He was from Bailey, North Carolina, which is 30 minutes away from me. Is what made me love football. So we'll table that because we got your article. I went back and reread it. I read it when you first published it. My question though is last week I won't say a meltdown. I didn't know meltdown. I'm like gotten past getting angry. But there's been a giant debate among Panther fans about Bryce Young as a quarterback, right? I mean, from the beginning, you trade up, you got the number 1 pick. It was Bryce or Stroud, this or that. Is Bryce? He's been like, I'm of the position. I don't really have an opinion. I just need it to work. I need it to work because, Joe, I guess the meat of the question is just simply this: is what happens this season if it doesn't work? And I know, look, for me. Everybody, I go on a radio show in Greenville every Friday to talk Panthers and the NFL, and they asked me about this season, my outlook, and I just said I need it to work. And they're like, what do you mean by I need? And I was talking about the season, and to me that is, it's not wins. I don't know. It's not wins. I don't know the only thing I need or want for my own mental and emotional stability is at the end of the season for us to just say, hey, we can keep rolling with Bryce. What happens though, Joe? Like, is there what are your thoughts on not only, man, we can just say, hey, we got to let it play out. What happens though, Joe, if we get to the end of the season, the Panthers aren't good and Bryce Young wasn't, he's part of the shade of that issue. Are we back to?
Yeah. I mean, you're trading for Sam Darnold. You're acquiring Baker Mayfield. You're bringing in PJ Walker. I mean,
Geno Smith type player.
I mean, I haven't even looked to see who the free agent quarterbacks are going to be next year, but it would be awful. I mean, you're Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if Bryce takes substantial steps backwards this year, which for the record, I don't think is going to happen, but it could. I mean, I thought Brant Tillis, we interviewed him, their cap and contracts guy, a couple weeks ago, kind of right this second week of camp. And he, first of all, he's not going to come out and give their strategy, but I thought he answered the Bryce question, pretty deftly. And that was that they view Bryce as an ascending player. And by the way, Brant Tillis has only done one other second contract for a quarterback, and it was Pat Mahomes in Kansas City. And so he knows, that one was obvious. And so what he was saying by calling Bryce an ascending player is that we hope he keeps going that way, that we're going to reward him with a second contract, and he is our guy for the next 5-6 years. But they don't know. They feel pretty good about it, but it's not Pat Mahomes. It's not Joe Burrow. And so this franchise would be set back a whole lot if Bryce doesn't take the next step. I mean, look at the Colts. They're making the announcement that it's Daniel Jones, not Anthony Richardson. And so I think they're in good shape with Bryce. I like how he's wired. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he's ever going to be a top 3 quarterback, but he might be. And I think he's going to have a good year.
I called him a short Alex Smith at one point. Yeah. All right, let's go to Cam, and we kind of both got things to say about it.
So, moving to our former quarterback, Cam Newton was in the news because Auburn decided to retire his jersey. They also decided to claim 4 more national championships, which is also kind of weird thing to do. But, you wrote an article, I believe it was last year, about the rift between the Carolina Panthers and Cam Newton and some of the steps that could be taken to mend that rift. Could you go over a couple of those and maybe even add to that? And where do you think the Panthers are with Cam now since you've written that article?
Yeah, I actually wrote about it back in March, so not too long ago. And the idea was, here's this guy that this 2015 season's coming, the 10-year anniversary of 2015, which, by the way, I covered that team. It was special. I get it. But I don't remember any big 10-year look backs on that 2003 team. That
social media.
But it's a good point. That's right. It was poor Dan Morgan, the linebacker on that team. It was just pre-social media. But back to the question. I think Cam and Tepper are just 2 strong-willed personalities. And I do think there have been times when Cam and the Panthers were close to mending fences. And then Cam, gets on his podcast and talks about the Panthers have a loser mentality in the locker room. And Cam is a bombastic dude who's never been shy about sharing his opinion and give him, and it's not always, in my mind, it's not always the right opinion or not what I would agree with, but he's not shy about sharing it. And he is not the kind of guy who's going to sugarcoat it either when talking about the Panthers. If he sees something he doesn't like with the Panthers, whether it's, his view of their offense or more recently, which was in this story in March, the fact that he feels like he's been shunned by the organization. And he's parts of his argument is hard to disagree with him. Like, there aren't a bunch of pictures of Cam Newton in that stadium. And I mean, there's not a ton of Greg Olsen and Luke Kuechly either, but Cam is iconic, and they've got to get that right. And I'm not just saying it's all in the Panthers. Cam's going to have to swallow some humble pie on this too. And I reported today, I didn't do a story, but I reported on Twitter or X that the Panthers are not putting anyone in the Hall of Fame, the Hall of Honor this year. I think there's speculation that people thought some of those 2015 guys might go in. Nobody told me this, but just my intuition is you can't put any 2015 guys in if Cam's not one of them. And it would be a shit. It'd be a shit show. And it'd be such a bad look optically. And so I think both sides got to get this right. Greg Olsen said they got to get in a room, get some, if you got to get a mediator in there, I'll do it. But let's get this figured out.
Just to follow up on that, you mentioned that some of the things that Cam said. I mean, he's trying to stay relevant in a sense, right? I mean, he's first take. I mean, the whole point is to be exaggerative and to make these points. So that's where I guess we're it's not a journalist, it's it's a commentator that's trying to get ratings and different things. He's got a podcast that he's really trying to put on, kind of some strange story coming out about the money recently, and I didn't trust the source, so I didn't go too far into it. But Roman Harper in your story was like, hey, if the Panthers want to do this, simple, right? Just do it. Ron Rivera, you quoted in the story, said, I'd love to see him get back to the Panther family. There was a point where he was such a huge part of the success, MVP, that we had during that 9-year stretch. He deserves to be back, but he's also got to be willing to do the things and understand that it takes more than just showing up. He knows what he needs to do, and I believe he'll do it. I guess the simple question is, and I'm not giving him a defense here. I'm not trying to defend. I don't know. What has Cam done that has alienated him other than, is it beyond? Is there something beyond saying, I just kind of felt left out with the Germany stuff? I feel like, is there something else? And if we were going to have Ron Rivera on the show and ask him, like, what does Cam need to do? So what has Cam done that has contributed this? And what does he need to do? Or maybe, I'm not saying speak for Rivera, but what does that even mean specifically?
Somebody told me, because I asked that same question, like, what do you mean about this? And it was like, when you come into town for your 7-on-7 tournament, don't take the first flight back to Atlanta, hang out an extra day and come to this event at the stadium, or swing by and, talk to Tepper or this, whatever. I'm
kiss the ring.
But and that somebody on your comments was questioning why I used the word humble pie. I actually meant to say to swallow his pride kind of thing. Like guys, these are too strong. And like, it's hard to do. Like, I get it. Like, Cam, to your point, probably doesn't think he's done anything wrong. And, so there have been times, like, it hasn't been like the Super Bowl. And this was in this story too. He and Christy Coleman, the team president, had a moment on Radio Row where they talked for 5-10 minutes. They were seen to, give each other a nice friendly, hug or dap or whatever. And so this isn't that hard. Like, right. You make a good point. It doesn't even seem that bad. That egregious has happened. Just somebody, Tepper, get it figured out.
All right. We got one last question about Steve Smith, and then you're out of here.
Yeah, one last question. Thank you so much for your time, Joe. You mentioned some of the, Cam being bombastic and saying whatever's on his mind. Well, somebody who's a lot closer to the organization also has a lot of really strong opinions, and that's Steve Smith. And he even went viral this past game against the Texans, because he was on the broadcast very openly criticizing this team and how they just looked flat. And Steve doesn't mince words at all. Is there any sort of rift between Dave Tepper and how open and honest Steve Smith is with this football team?
No, and it's a good point. I mean, I just think Steve is around more. He comes to practice. I think, it's a great point. I don't have a great answer for you, but except to say that Steve's been around a lot. He was at practice today. You see him at practice a couple days a week. He's part of the preseason broadcast team. And God love him. I mean, to go on this, the team network and share his true thoughts and his real, I respect it. And I don't know. I mean, I think maybe the thing with Auburn, I was going to say, maybe that gets, that brought it into the forefront. That's apples and oranges. I mean, heck, Cam was only in Auburn one season.
Yeah.
You guys know that.
Yeah.
But the greatest football,
like 2 semesters.
Arguably the greatest college football season of any player, or ranks among it. I do feel like sometimes that the Panthers I wouldn't say take advantage, but do you remember like the new Superman movie came out and they like put up something about Superman and it was like, oh, this is a little opportunistic right here. Joe, do you think what's your I guess Thursday is the final preseason, right? Game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's your timeline of like where your busy work's coming in right now? Thursday's gonna tell us what's just gonna happen. What you're gonna be like, where you're gonna be like, damn, I got these deadlines. I got to look at this. Where you're gonna not be getting sleep. What are you, I guess, looking forward to / dreading? What's that timeline look like?
The day it's not Thursday. Thursday will be fine. It'll be a lot of second and third teamers. I look forward to seeing Jalen Coker. But the day that is sort of that I like and hate is somebody is calling me Adam Carolla. I've heard that for years.
That's actually a compliment.
No, dude, I love it. I've heard that for years. Anyway, Tuesday, the 26th, cut day. Cut day is when you got to reach out to agents or players or coaches, and you're just basically like, hey man, and you're not calling the agent for Adam Thielen.
Right.
You're calling these guys that you pretty much know are going to get cut. And you're like, hey man, is everything good with your guy? Like,
oh, that hurts.
It's a terrible phone call to make. And just to get a tweet out that says this fourth team, left guard has been cut. And
right.
So, but you kind of feel obligated to do it because people want to know.
Yeah.
And every now and then there's a surprise, and somebody, like Jonathan Mingo or Terrace Marshall or somebody like that gets cut.
Oh, DJ Shark got cut today, I heard, or released or something, by the way.
Yeah, it happens. But anyway, that day is long too, because most of these agents don't want to call you back because the news sucks.
Yeah, right.
So,
all right. Thanks so much for your time, Joe. Joe Person, The Athletic. The longest beat writer, I believe. I don't know. Are you the longest tenured right now in Charlotte?
Oh, well,
or is it David Newton?
Well, David Newton had a break where he definitely
he did racing before, right?
Make no mistake about it. David is older than I am.
Okay.
But he did have like a 8-10 year, maybe 8-year break where he was covering NASCAR.
Racing. Yeah.
Scott Fowler's been around. Now, Scott's not a beat guy, but
right.
Scott will tell you, and good for him. He's covered like every Panther. I don't think he's been at every Panthers game, but he's been at damn near all of them. And so somebody's asking one more quick thing about Adam Carolla and the Man Show. So one time,
I'll never not see it now.
One time I'm at the golf. I'm playing golf. This is a long time ago. And somebody hands me the phone. We were we got hooked up with some couple guys we didn't know or something. And he's saying like, oh man, you sound just like Adam Carolla. He said, here, I'm calling my buddy and I'm giving you the phone. And all you have to say is coming up next, girls on trampolines. I didn't even know the line.
Joe, thank you so much for your time. You guys make sure you subscribe to The Athletic. It's something that I've always paid for. It's worth it. Especially if you're if you're a student, guys, you get a student discount, or at least you used to. I'm not sure. I'm sure they still do. Joe, thanks for all your hard work. Do me a solid. Give me a follow back on X.
Hey, I appreciate. Yeah, hit me up on that. I'll definitely do that. Appreciate y'all having me on, man. Y'all do a great job. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for sticking around with us.
If you need me to come out there with my drone for training camp, let me know.
Oh, nope. He can't. No comment. Let him go. We might never get him back.
Thanks,
all right, thanks, Joe.
All right,
guys, that was Joe Person with The Athletic. Really, the journalism for the type of for our fans, right? Is that it is still there's still long form journalism out there. I mean, if we could have him on for the whole show, I would give him a whole joke about this. Or tell him the spiel about how Joe and I wouldn't have to tell him about where this podcast came from, but Joe and I, we started where the genesis of Carolina Cat Chronicles came from was not let's make a podcast. It was let's make a fan site where fans can voice their opinions, develop a community. And then podcast became such a great medium at that point. Is that slog of writing and trying to get people to read it. My favorite is when you throw hours and hours into a story and people just comment it but never read it. Just read the headline. So I mean, we really leaned in to the podcast as being and it was really it was the best move good done. But I do have this idea of making a website where you just write headlines. Like you don't, the article is nothing but a headline, and the only click is an ad, and the only thing that just says leave your comment, you were going to write the story anyway. And I think you would get more clicks and you would make more money than anything, and you wouldn't even have to
most people don't even click on the links anyway.
But still, it's just it's just out, and then they're just commenting. But like, why not? Instead of writing 7 hours about something, because writing takes a long time, right? And I mean, obviously, the more you do it, the better you can churn it out. And these guys, but I mean, great, thoughtful writing takes research, takes time, takes refinement, and then they don't even click it, Cody, like you're saying.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of a brilliant, and you know what? It turns out there are a lot of sites that are basically, and the sad part of it is like the mainstream sites, some of the most heavy hitters of journalism are almost becoming that. It's just like the headline, link to a picture, and that's it.
It leads. I've noticed a lot of Twitter accounts are doing that now. Like they'll post a picture with their tweets, and it'll be something like this. ML football is like notorious for it now. They'll put a picture of a player and then have like a wild quote at the bottom that's like just meant to drive links. But you have to shout out to those who are still doing great journalism, like Joe.
That's why I pay for it. That's why I pay for it.
He's doing an awesome job, and those are great insights tonight, man. And we appreciate everybody in the comments that were leaving cool comments for Joe. It's cool that he was reading them too, and that he was.
I know. Y'all got to be nice sometimes when we get these guests on, so we can get them back. Some of these people are like,
and dude, sometimes like I'm just like putting them up kind of robotically. I'm not even necessarily.
I'm like, stop, G baby. Don't say he's always hated Bryce. Stop. I know, G baby, you love Bryce and all of this, but we gotta continue through this slog, and that's where my fear of. And I don't have a belief that Bryce isn't going to work. Like, let me get this. I want everybody to know is like, I am rooting for this team more than any, or just as much as all of y'all are. Right. And I don't have any preconceived notions. I don't think, and that's where I get really irritated about a lot of things in life at this point is that so many people have already decided what they believe, and it doesn't happen what evidence happens. Like, it doesn't matter what happens, they're just going to believe what they already believed from the beginning, regardless. I think the best example to me, a great example, and I'm Cody, this is not maybe a little shade at you. I think Trevor Lawrence is a great example of this. Cam Newton, speaking of Cam, he had a segment where he talked about the 5 quarterbacks that he thought had the most to prove this year. And I think I can only remember 4 of them. It was Tua, right? Bryce was on the list. Anthony Richardson, who just got benched for Daniel Jones. But his number 1 was Trevor Lawrence. And first, G Baby, I love you. And he said, like, and I do love G Baby. Like, that's my boy right there. You know, I've always been of this opinion. Like, Trevor Lawrence is an example. I mean, I don't want to say white privilege, right? No, but kind of, it's not white privilege, but yeah, it is. Right, is like that is part of it. Is right, is like if Trevor Lawrence was, if Cam Newton, right? I mean, if he was black, the leash would be shorter.
I mean, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, and Justin.
But
Fields,
I actually don't think it's.
On.
I think that's like a component of it. I think it's less. I think the real genesis of the problem is that people believed it was inevitable. It's not that he's white or black. And I do think that the leash has been longer because, and I'm not saying, but like, really, it's the real problem is that people already made their minds up, right? Is that before anything actually happens. And those, you can have strong opinions, but like Cam, I thought Cam had a great comment, man. Like, an incredible comment, which was Trevor Lawrence is paid a top 5 quarterback. If anybody's got anything to prove right now, like the leash he's gotten the leash, so you can take that away, right? Because you could say things like, we would pull the rug out from Bryce Young. There's always going to be a component. Never give him a fair chance, right? Like, you never get, and that would be a fair argument. It would be a straight fair argument.
Sure.
You cannot make that comment. You can't make that argument about Trevor Lawrence. He's been given the chance. Not only was he given the chance, he's gotten paid to get the longer chance. But I really think, CK, the problem is that not people, but it's like a herd. It's like a herd thinking. And it's just like, we already thought this. It doesn't matter what we see, what happens. Don't tell me I was wrong.
Well, I think it's also going to depend on what he does this year, too. I get the point that he's already been paid. A lot of the comparisons that I've seen made for Trevor Lawrence is it Daniel Jones, because their numbers have been similar and they've both been paid. But the difference is Trevor Lawrence has won a playoff game and he came back to win that. He fucking did it. He has a playoff win.
Right, it was his rookie year, right?
Second year, I think. Third year.
Second year. And then on top of it,
third.
Yeah, it was his second year.
Okay,
and then he came back, won a playoff game. I think that this is a big year for him. They re-upped on this offense, but I get the point that you're trying to make. But I think also a little bit more of what you're talking about is the demand for quarterbacks. That if you feel like if you have a damn good quarterback, you're gonna pay him. They're gonna get paid. My example of this would be Tua Tagovailoa. Like, Tua has had a bunch of great weapons around him. Has he really proved himself to be a tier above any other of the top quarterbacks right now? I don't think so. So
he's definitely played to the level of Trevor Lawrence, though. And here, big shout out to our boy Greg, the Bat Daddy, the Stat Daddy. We miss you. We love you. You're on my mind a lot. And I actually was just telling my girlfriend, I need to call Greg. Right? Like, I was like, I need to just call him.
He's talking about his return. His return is imminent. Shout out Greg.
Ooh.
Greg, I don't want to get lost. I don't want this to be lost on the racial point. I actually just think this is one is, and I will, like, we were making jokes because at my gym, I said, if he was like Trevor Lawrence was, if he had my hair He looked like me. I'm less white than Trevor Lawrence. G baby. I'm Italian. Like, is that the least? All right. So look, but it's not the race thing that's the real issue, Greg. That is not. I mean, historically, those are real factors in the world, but in every case and over time, maybe they're becoming different and less. I think the real issue is just this, is that people have already decided before something happened, and that is Trevor Lawrence was going to be a generational quarterback.
Yeah.
And now it's not happening. And it's just like, well, I'm not wrong. I can't be wrong. We can't be wrong.
I think a lot of teams would still love to have a Trevor Lawrence if given the opportunity.
Why?
Though.
He holds the ball. And I wanted to ask Joe Person about this with Bryce. And I know I might get some flack. G-Baby about to get mad at me here. God, what did I say? Something in the 2 preseasons games ago. Like, it's like nobody gave me any shit. Like, they gave me no credit for it. And I don't want credit. I am slightly worried Bryce holds onto the ball a little bit too long sometimes.
Yeah, I think
that's in these instances, and I know it's such a small sample set. Let me go ahead and say that.
It's also problem for us to worry about him seeing the field too.
Well, I don't even have all that worry. I mean, yeah, I mean, I do. I mean, no, I don't have that. It's just like and yeah, you want to extend plays, you want to do this. There's some moments like, and we're not talking about the interception play, and I don't even know if it's really the case. It's just there's been moments where I think, we can say it's the offensive line. Man, why isn't the offensive line doing better on that play? Is Bryce trying to make something happen? I don't know. I hope this isn't going to come into fruition, but that is Trevor Lawrence's problem, bro. He holds the ball just too long, dude. I mean, shit or get off the pot. Trevor, that's his problem, bro. He does not just throw it or run. And it's real. That's real. It's real. That's his issue.
See highlights
he holds
of drops.
The ball
Yeah.
too long.
I also see a lot of drops every
year
by them too.
No, okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody gets drops. That is fine. I'm not trying to say that. But like, if there is something that is from somebody like me who is not a expert, it's very simple. He just doesn't. He holds the ball too long. And that leads to either interceptions or fumbles or sacks or something.
Tony, to your point about, people kind of holding on to their opinions, let's talk about the fact that they're going to start Joe Flacco over top of Sanders. And, you
mean Richardson. Yeah.
No. I'm talking about Joe Flacco over Sanders.
God, sorry. I'm still on. I'm on Daniel Jones. You're right.
I think, no matter what my opinion as far as his level of quarterbacking is, I think he showed enough to justify letting that guy try to be the guy for that team. He didn't have any major mistakes, and same concept. I think that you're starting to see people that have already kind of determined their opinion about him, maybe even within the organization. Certainly in certain fan bases, absolutely. People have their opinion and they're going to hold true to it and really have a hard time. Same thing with me with Bryce, right? That first year and a half before we ended up benching him, I was like, Bryce has no fault here. It's this. And I still hold true that some of that stuff is accurate.
Oh, wait till we get to this story, CK, that's come out today about Frank Reich talking about how we were all right on this podcast. I'm not trying to celebrate us. To your point, though, CK,
I was especially right.
Everybody
on that one,
everybody was right about how there was too many cooks in the kitchen. They didn't know where they're. But CK is you were absolutely right, because I am Shador. I don't know why I think I gravitate to these players, because I love Cam, right? Give me the person. I always like shit that other people don't like, right? It's like if it's popular, I don't like it. If it's not popular, I love it. Like, it's just a rebel in me. So, but with Cam, right, we can, I guess I latch on to these players that they make the judgment of ego, this and that. CK, I'm with you, but I don't think it has to be week 1. I think I think if this team is stinking, right, the Browns, and Flacco's either old or hurt, if those motherfuckers put in Pickett, right, is like, I think it's a, I mean, I can say, all right, week 1, we're going to do this with the idea that it's probably not going to happen the whole season. But if they will show the true colors, won't they, CK?
Yeah.
If they're just hell bent on that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, it's only so long that you can fake those things, right? So, I think we're about to, really, I don't know. I'm hopeful that we're going to see things work out, but at the end of the day, people are going to hold true to their opinions. And again, even with regard to the Sanders thing, I think anybody who just wants to dig their heels in are going to have a hard time being able to adapt to the changes that we're about to see year in and year out for a squad, an NFL team that has been one of the most inconsistent when it comes to total NFL, never having back-to-back winning seasons. So I think we had to learn how to adjust to that.
Yeah. Cody, we got a lot more show to go still. We're going to power through. Cody's a little under the weather, but how about this is before we kind of hit the scrum. Kind of went into the scrum. I mean, how about this is let's take a few calls and see, maybe they lead us into that discussion of the scrum and we can work through the show that way.
Yeah, man.
The number, look, you're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. Thank you guys, man. Look, the family up in this mug, family in the chat. I know we're not the biggest, but we are the mightiest because this is the truest, realest community that I am a part of. That's all I can say. I don't know if it's the realest in the world, but it's the realest to me. Nick from Mass came all the way from Massachusetts to do electrical work in my house and vacation with me. Greg, the Bat Daddy, the Stat Daddy, my true brother, and he's got a child in college. My son.
I was in my feels.
I know. We love look, I mean, it's the people, you guys are our family, and we thank you. The number's 252-228-5098. It's time for you to tell us what you thought. I mean, look, we got a few ahead of you folks. So, but you still time to get in there. We rock, we roll. And we got only one call though. The first call is going to be from Saturday. I can't wait to hear what that one is. It's Lou. Oh no, I don't even know. I don't know. It's not. I think it's Lou from Fort Myers because the translation, it says it's Showtime from Fort Myers, but I think it's Lou from Fort Myers. Cody, Lack, let's hit these cat calls up.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use
one? It's showtime. Lou from Fort Myers. Bruh, 20-3? We over here putting up tour dates? Bro, I don't care if it's just preseason. I want to see competitive football, dog. That's all I'm asking for. That ain't hard. That ain't hard. That is not hard, bro. What do we have to do to make close games? 3 points on the board? I'm really starting to think maybe it's not just the quarterback. It's this offense that can't get vamped up. You putting up 3 points. What break does the defense got? Who is our offensive coordinator? Is it this Brady Isaac or whatever the dude from Tampa?
Brad
He needs to go. We can't score with backups. And don't tell me, oh, it's just second season. These are backups. It's backups versus backups, dog. I don't want to hear. We putting up 3 points. Bro, you got to establish a winning culture somewhere. Even if it's just wins in preseason. Small wins stack up. So do small losses. Even if these losses are small, they don't really count. They're going to stack up. Like, how do you go 0-3 in the preseason and then just go to the regular season and think, okay, we're all good? That's not how that shit works. You know what I mean? Like, it brings a certain energy, dog. I don't know, bro. I said this last. I didn't even get to watch the game. I was working. But I said this last call. Bro, I want to see winning culture, bro. Winning culture. I don't care if we picked up the best wide receiver in the draft. Don't shit matter if we can't win games. Can't put points on the board. Man, this Lou from Fort Myers, man. I just want to say I love y'all. And give me a summary why we only had 3 points, bro. Because I was at work. I couldn't even watch the game. I come back home. I just got back home. Come back home and I click on the score 20-3. What the fuck? What the hell? What the hell? Like, come on, bro.
Lou, I think
I need the OC to lock in, bro.
One, I think this is
Ice
like,
him up.
I think it's one is like, why didn't we have more than 3 points? Very simple. The first team offense didn't do shit against in those 2 series, right? But also, if we like kind of reverse the question, guys, and that is like, why didn't we have more points? Why did they have so many points? And clearly they got the ball on like the 10-yard line on a poor special teams play. They got that quick touchdown. That first touchdown was they had Rosebaum. What's his name? Rosebaum. Bro, that guy's hair is too thin to be that long. It's stringy. It's stringy. It looks like
not everyone can have thick curly hair like us, Tone.
I know, man. But like, and then guess what is it just does I'm sorry. I'm not trying to throw maybe a little. It's stringy and it's like almost too long for that string. But like they knew what was up. He did a great linebacker blitz. He wasn't anywhere close to getting there. I mean, he went as fast. It went as best as you could. It was just this. It was just we're going Nico right there. Like they didn't have a chance against that play. There was no chance against that play. And maybe you could say something. Maybe we could all talk about why is it JC Horn on Nico? Maybe somebody could say something about that. I'm not saying it, but maybe did JC play in this game? No, he didn't. No, he wasn't there. No. That's why he didn't. He wasn't even there. But it wasn't like they scored a tremendous amount of points against us. And we gave them incredible football, like incredible field position. But it very well, I don't think the score matters, CK, in preseason. Like, is that if like we did the right things and then you lose by 30, I don't care. Like, actually, week 1, right?
But Tony, it sucks when you see all these other teams, even some in our division, and they're going out and they're putting up points. Like they're doing the things that we're all just
they only
like,
put up 20.
Well, don't overreact because it's just preseason. I think we just want to see the Panthers look like other teams that are expected to look good, and they do go out there in preseason and they do look good, and that's never us. So I think that leads to that sort of PTSD that Joe Person also mentioned as well too.
All right, we got Cody's got a bounce tonight. He's been under the weather. He's got to get some rest, but we're going to do one more call. He's going to read the super chats and cover me for a second.
Yes, sir.
What's up, C3? It's Kyle from Spartanburg. Yeah, man, these preseason games they're a rough watch. I mean, as Panther Nation, a lot of people either say that the team sucks or everyone's overreacting or people are reacting just fine. You know, I expected a lot more from this team going into these 2 preseason games than what we've got. I mean, I think everyone can expect a little more. I mean, I was doing some research in the Panthers for first 2 preseason games. We only scored 13 points. The second worst team is the Bills, and they scored 25 points. So there's been no other team in the NFL to score under 20 points besides us. It just makes no sense how we can be so poorly managed and have these teams, second teams and backups look way better than our backup. Our backups look like college players, and these people actually look like real professional football players. It's just annoying year in, year out, ever since 2017, the ineptitude every single time you watch a Panthers game. There's just nothing to be hopeful about. I mean, you have these glimpses of players that do good, and the next game they're invisible. So let's just hope for a better season. RC3, have a good show.
Keep pounding, brother. Yeah, CK, I've said it a bunch. I won't continue to repeat myself, but every year when the Panthers are abysmal in preseason, and then we're all like, okay, don't worry about it. And then we go on to produce how we do normally in the season. It's like, okay, dude, we're on script as of right now. So hopefully we can change the tides of fate, hopefully. Shout out to Panther Girl with the $2 C3 bomb says, do you have any highlights on the new quarterback? I actually do. I was going to wait, but I'm not going to be here later, so I'll go ahead and play them now. And then Mike Hollinger said, great interview. Keep them coming. We appreciate it, man. CK, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on these preseasons and how much it means to us while I find this clip.
For me, I think, as I mentioned before, I think I have a little more value in preseason, not like as like their team is going to be who they are and the what we see in preseason, but I do think that it's valuable for this team to start to discover their connections with one another, things like that. And so, like I thoroughly was disappointed that we weren't in any capacity, meshing or anything along those lines. And I really, like, somebody in the chat was saying this, and I think I really mean this. Like, I think that this is one of the best positions, like one of the best statements ever. Until we win a game in preseason, you shouldn't be pulling your starters, right? And so, or at least until they start to look competent, right? Like, if this defense is looking garbage, you keep them in there going up against second stringers, going up against third stringers. They haven't earned anything by that point to not justify having them on the field. So my opinion is, and still remains, that I know it's contrarian to what your belief is, but I really think that this team needs to discover their identity, and that starts by, in preseason, unfortunately.
Well, but it's like Joe Person was saying, why even, well, when we only play 2 series and then pull out all of our starters, and then you only give them enough time to go out there and look abysmal, not even get onto a rhythm, and then you pull them. It's like, why even play them? Like, you just played them long enough for us to get, upset and pessimistic about how they look. I would, still, like I said, I would rather not even see them at all. But for Panther Gal, before I leave, you wanted to see some of our new quarterback that we just picked up. He is the second Bryce on the roster. Bryce Perkins, who was the MVP of the UFL last season, dropping back. He's got a big arm. The dude's mobile. There's clips of him jumping over dudes. He's wearing number 10. He's got a big arm. He used to play at the University of Virginia. So, yeah, I mean, I think after Andy Dalton got hurt in preseason with that elbow, the Panthers wanted to make sure that they had more firepower in that quarterback room. And, Jack Plummer, his stock dropped tremendously. He looked very bad in preseason.
He's a penny stock anyway.
Well, I mean, there were people that wanted to see him take strides over Andy Dalton, but he definitely did not do that. But I do like Bryce Perkins. He looks like a strong arm quarterback. He's pretty mobile, to say the least. And
if we on our backup quarterback guys this year at any point, there's real, like, it's injury. Look, I mean, what would it be? It would be injury or bad play, and both of those would mean starting over.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah,
did you hit the super chats up? And
I did.
Cody,
I did.
One thing is when you wake up tomorrow, you know how I love when you give the ice up picks that speak to my soul.
Mm-hmm.
I got a good one that's going to speak to your soul. So just when you wake up, come back to just fast forward. I think I'm going to start clipping the ISO pics. Is you'll relate. You'll be like, I like this shit. I know it's going to speak to your heart. It's going to speak to your heart. It's not death and destruction. It's different. But Cody, you're the man. You always keep us alive. Thank you so much. And get some rest. And I hope you feel better.
Yep. Tony, CK, love y'all boys. I'll be seeing y'all soon. And see through Legion. Keep pounding, baby.
Cody. I mean, not Cody. Well, Cody, actually. Now that he's gone.
Now that could be Cody
you
again.
Can be yourself. CK, we're going to power through some calls. Let's power through some calls and maybe it'll overlap with the continued discussion of the show. This was at 3:49. So sometimes I like to look at what the times are. So pre-show call right here today.
Yo, what's going on, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Hope y'all boys are having a good Tuesday, man. It's August 19th, calling in around 4 o'clock. Just wanted to get my call for the night. Anything. I know you guys are having Joe Person on the show. Should be awesome. Should be a great time. I just wanted to call in and give some of my thoughts for the previous 2 preseason games, as we're not going to see the starters. So the preseason of the 2025 Carolina Panthers has concluded pretty much. I know you guys are having, Joe on, and you guys are going to hear these calls after, but quick shout out to him. He's an awesome beat reporter, been around a long time, and he today just came out with an article for the New York Times talking about how it's been 7 years of losing, and fans should start to press this team a little bit and get frustrated. And I think it's completely warranted. A lot of what we're seeing right now, and this is just my observation, is a young coach who probably, again, took the job a year early, maybe a year or 2 earlier, and he's trying to figure out all this stuff. He's on a rebuilding squad. There's some talent that was brought in. I think he's trying to figure this stuff out. And the sad thing is that I'm still going to have to dock him points for these things, even though there is context and nuances to that he's a new coach. But man, I preach this all off season. You can go back multiple cat calls, multiple weeks and spaces on the free for all. This team, if we want to have a successful season, in our eyes, in my opinion, a successful season would be 9-8 or sneaking into the wild card. If we want that to be the case, you got to look at the schedule. And this year, the schedule makers started us out pretty favorably. I mean, we have to start good enough in September and October. I've been preaching this. Yes, it is cool that you can go 4-5 down the stretch in November and December and January. But imagine if you had, 3 more wins from the 1-7 mark, and you were 4-4 instead, and then you finish 8-9, and then maybe Leggett catches the ball. All those. Just I'm very disappointed in this preseason operation. I'm very worried about the defense, and I'm very drained as a fan, man. I mean, Kevin's been joking about this. He's given this 2 more years, and I tend to agree. I mean, 2 more years, we're going to be going on a decade of losing if we can't get this turned around. I know they're a young front office. I know we have a young coach, but at some point, you got to give us 1 season to hang our hat on, and we just haven't had any of that yet. And I'm worried this team comes out sloppy week 1. I'll be very disappointed, but I wouldn't be able to say that I was surprised by any means. Give me your thoughts, Anthony from Charlotte. Keep mother.
Look, actually, Anthony, the thing with and this is why I keep coming back to the Bryce storyline is I need Bryce to hit, baby. I need it. We need it. Everybody needs it. I don't care what you thought about him before. It's not about being right or wrong, because if it doesn't work, we are on the decade run, right? I mean, it's just that simple. That and I don't know how a young franchise can truly take that, right? And we are a young franchise, right? Yeah. Is that the idea is that we were starting to get that momentum where second generation Panther fans were starting to see success. They got their first star in Cam, right? Is I got my son who was not a football dude. He's starting to become one, right? But he's leaked into the college. He was like into college football he's like into college, but now he's starting to want to dip his toe in the NFL. And you know what, CK, the reason is because people that he started to learn and like that were in college are now in the NFL, right? So it's like he's like wanting to a little track those players. But Michael Dunn, when he was 4 or 5 years old, I mean, he's young. Cam, this would have been pre-2015, I think. This is like 2013 in there. I said, bro, if you get Cam to sign my Super Cam cape, I will buy you this is what I bribed him with, the most expensive Lego set, which is like, they come in like, but I don't know what they are now. It was like, they were like, you get like the small one, which is like 15, which you can put together in like 2 minutes. Then there was the 30, then there's the 60, but that $120 Lego set was the big one, you know. And like, I mean, this is 2012, like, man, 120, but I said, bro, if you get this to happen, you get that 120 Lego set. My man ducked, dived, dipped, rolled, and he made it happen. But the problem is that like the losing, the kid, like how, and look, we can barely watch it ourselves, and we do the podcast. We love the team. You know, how do you get a kid excited about something when it's been a decade of losing? And that's really where the fear comes in for me. But there is no fear when we remember where the true greatness of this podcast, not the podcast, I don't want to over celebrate the podcast, but like what I found out is that this podcast is about the Panthers, but it's really just about our peoples that we love, we learn, that we become. Like I said, Nick came from Massachusetts to do fucking electrical work. My brother that I've hugged like a long lost twin when I physically met him, the Bat Daddy, the Stat Daddy. I'm on those stupid ass fake cigarettes too. You look great.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, hey, you know what? It's came on the show or came into the chat room, arguing with little baby, and I realized that Cody wasn't going to be here for a little while, or Cody's leaving. I was like, well, shit, if Cody's leaving, this show works way better with 3 people, and I'm planning on making my big comeback pretty soon anyway, probably next week. I'm doing some editing. I got the new intros, the new bumpers, the new backgrounds. I got all this stuff in the works right now. Hopefully in like a week I'm going to be done with it. But Cody got off, and I was like, well, shit, I got nothing to do tonight. I'm off tomorrow. Why not get on, talk some Panthers football with my boys, hit the C3 Nation and hang out, So thanks for having me, man.
Greg. Look,
I appreciate it,
you
man.
look big, you look strong. I
I'm
understand.
stronger right now than I've ever been in my life. Right now, to be sure
how old are you right now? Because you're younger than I am.
I'm almost 41, and I've never been as strong as I am right now, as far as physically as strong as I am right now. Yeah,
when you
it is. It's really awesome. Yeah,
like we're kind of going around the sun the opposite direction than most people.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I understand. I'm glad you cut the beard off, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not glad, but imagine if you would have said this. If we would have really stuck to the playoff beard, dude, you would have been fucking like Gandalf.
Well, no, here's the thing: is we're going to make the playoffs this year. So technically, I didn't break the bet. We're going to make the playoffs. We're going to make the playoffs this year. Yeah. So I mean,
he's a
it's going to happen. Look, hey, I have a whole new perspective on life right now. Okay. Look, now seriously, today's 11 months into a new life for me, to the day, and things always change, and life always changes, and you've got to stick with what you know is best, and do the best things for your family. And y'all are part of my family. The C3 Nation's part of my family. I'm ready to come back. I really am. I've just got to get a few more things in line. But I am working behind the scenes on production, on new. Bro, wait till you see this new intro. Wait till y'all see this new intro. It's gonna be great. Y'all gonna be dancing to it. Like, you're gonna download the actual song, dancing to it. It's gonna be phenomenal. So I'm ready to play some.
We love you.
I appreciate it, man.
I'm so glad to hear when we talk about that, those I mean, and that doesn't mean the past doesn't matter, like those things. But look, in my adversity is far not even in the realm, right?
Not less, just different.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But
Let's not put it like that. Not less, just different. So everybody has problems. Yeah.
It's really nice when you get to that momentum point of like, I mean, I don't know. It's like it's kind of a switch. You go,
yep.
So I'm happy to hear that. You look great. We're glad to hear you. We're gonna power through a couple calls, Greg. While we got you on here, we're gonna go to the Hope Dealer. Oh wait, I'm gonna skip this first call. Here we go. Right now, fat fingers.
To the charismatic CK, the tenacious Tony Dunn, and yes, the incomparable Cody Lack. What's going on, everybody out there in the C3 region? This ain't nobody but your boy CP, the Vintage Retro Man, North Carolina's neighborhood hope filler. You know what, boys? I ain't gonna even try to get this all in one call because I know I ain't gonna be able to. But I just gotta say, great effort, great effort, great effort, great effort. That's all I hear Dave Canals talk about is great effort. But see, I know that I got a professor on this call by the name of Tony Dunn. And I remember a couple of decades ago when I was in college, and I had a professor that told me something that I will never forget. She said, never confuse good effort with results.
Oh.
And I bring this up because you know what? I'm tired of it, y'all. I know it's the preseason. I know. But effort doesn't win ball games. We're not looking for effort. We're looking for results. These players don't get paid millions of dollars to give good effort and losing efforts. And each year I hear the same thing. It's just the preseason. And I know I've said it myself as, you know, as therapy for myself, man, to not get too stressed out, but I'm tired. And why rest the starters against Pittsburgh? I don't get it. It don't really make no sense to me.
I think
it's the whole deal. Yeah, I got a second call. I'll call right back.
He's coming back. I think you got a plan. You stick to it. But like, if we were going to talk about that, is like, why didn't they stick to more in game 2 and be like, hey, we weren't going to do this in game 3. Make sure you do it to get what you want to see. Do you go like does starting them, Greg, in game 3 when that wasn't part of the plan? Does that make you question your process a little?
For me, it does a little bit because here's the thing: is like had they come out in game 2 and played really well, they were going to play 3 series was the original plan. If they came out and played 3 series, the starters, and played fairly well, didn't play fantastic, fairly well, I can see sitting them in the 3rd game and just seeing what you got, but behind the starters, to who's going to make the team. But now, because they didn't play well, now we're going to sit with 3 weeks of a sour taste in our mouth based on what our starters put out going into the season. So we have 3 weeks of not performing well against not necessarily starting players going into the season. And listen,
but they're not doing it for us, Greg. They're not doing it for us.
But here's the thing: they need to do it for Bryce and everybody else. Because here's the thing: is Bryce is a momentum player. When he feels good and momentum's going well, he plays really well. When things are down and he's not playing well, he's terrible. Okay, he's a very both ends of the spectrum kind of player. I believe he can be very good, and I think we still will be good this year. But I don't like the idea of going 3 weeks and having the sour taste in your mouth of the last way he performed into the first week of the season against starters where it matters. I think that based on what they did, they should have played 3 series and based on the 3 series made a decision on what they were going to do in game 3. They already made a decision what they're going to do in game 3, and it doesn't sit well for me, but it doesn't mean the season's going to be over. You know, but I think that we're going to have a sour taste in our mouth based on what happened last game. We didn't play well the first string, and now we're going into that 3 weeks later and starting the season. I just don't like it.
I want to highlight my boy. This is what I love about the brotherhood that truly is. Yes, the Panthers are what we talk about, but really this is like we can say family. Maybe that seems cliche to people that are listening, But my boy Kev, listen here, is like one of my greatest friends of all time. Right. I mean, we don't hang out a lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I promise you this, if Kev and I got together, it would still be like you know what I'm saying? It's like one of those friends that you just are friends. So he highlighted this, and I think that you're right, but I think this is where I'm different on it. He said some people quit, some people realize they can't quit. Effort absolutely does matter. I agree entirely, but I think, Kev, that effort's required. Right. Is that you're at the highest level of football, right? Or you're at the highest level of anything. I also get it's like sometimes we get like shit on people that are successful. Yeah, there are certain people that have stumbled into success. They had like supreme advantages. They inherited a lot, right? But when you look at the vast majority of super successful people at whatever field it is, it could be from the most hands-on job to someone like my boy he's like my boy Kev is a business, not only a successful business owner, right, but like one of the smartest savvy people I've ever known, right? Effort's required, right? And so yes, effort does matter, right? We don't want to, but I remember this conversation when I was in graduate school, and one of the most important people in my life, Dr. Carl Swanson. He is outside of my family, arguably the most influential person in my life. And he was a great mentor. Like, I mean, it was tough, but he was a great mentor. But I won't say struggle, but like it was a real big transition for me when I got to graduate school. Like, we went through this. I mean, the first semester in grad school, I almost quit. I don't know if it was like, man, do I belong? I was starting to have that question because I always thought I did belong. I've never walked into a room and been intimidated by people intellectually. I've never thought I was the smartest person, but I never like I don't belong. But I was I was given the max effort I've ever given in my life, and I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. Like the caller was saying, it's about results, right? Things like this. But I kind of got that moment where you start to you turn the corner, right? Like the light bulb clicks on. Oh, by the way, Kev, this is a great analogy here. Kev is the one that taught me how to drive a stick shift in a geostorm. and it's a great fucking analogy here, is that Kev said you got to feel the clutch, you got to feel it grab, you got to feel the clutch. I'm like, I don't feel it, I don't feel it, I don't feel it, I don't feel it, I don't feel it. And then all of a sudden you do, right? Like all of a sudden you feel it, right? And so I got that point where effort panned out, right? And I got my thesis advisor he's such a wonderful person, but compliments, if he gives you a compliment, it's a true fucking compliment. There's no inflation to it. So another friend of mine was Wilson York, who was a year ahead of me, who was also his thesis advisor. This motherfucker went on Jeopardy, dude. Straight went on Jeopardy while we were in graduate school. Like, I mean, he's like, we're like, so he goes on.
I don't mean you're smart, you know.
No. But Wilson York is very smart. It was like he was so much more polished than me. He's not necessarily smarter. But he is. He's fucking smart. Wilson is smart. So he goes on Jeopardy. Think about this. A lot of people have watched Jeopardy, right? This motherfucker goes on Jeopardy, he went to Duke, but then he came to ECU. Then he went to Emory, which is a great school. But he goes on Jeopardy and he fucking crushes. They get to Final Jeopardy. I don't know if you guys watch Jeopardy, but sometimes mugs win Jeopardy with like $12,000.
A landslide,
$18,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they get to Final Jeopardy. The mug does full double. Like, he knows he's got to get everything to win. The guy that was ahead of him also had to get the question right. But he lost by $3. He lost by $3. $3. But here's the thing that's killer about this is Wilson York had over $30,000. So not only did he lose, like he was in second place, but the other guy knew exactly what he had. Like he was like, he's like, this dude's gonna go double, full Final Jeopardy. The other guy beat him, right? But I called Carl Swanson up. I was watching it. I said, bro, did you see Wilson? He fucking crushed. I mean, like he was just like, this is so awesome. I know he didn't win. He goes, yeah, he really blew the Golden Globes category. That was his first fucking comment, right? But my point being is Carl Swanson, when he gives you a comment, I mean, like a compliment, it's fucking worth it. It's meaningful, right? So when I felt the clutch, be careful with that incinerator, bro. Be careful. I know, but it ain't no fireball, but still.
No, hell no,
it ain't no fireball. But so when I felt Kev, I hope Kev's still here to hear this because it's so many layers to this. It's like when I was in graduate school and I finally felt the Geostorm clutch, right? And I was like, oh, that's what the fucker meant by you feel it. So I got praise at my first praise from somebody who is truly in my corner, right? And my ass, who is just the same person, Kev, who's gonna nurse a compliment, he's gonna fish for a second one. That's what I was like, oh, he's like, this was impressive. Like he gave me, and I was like, oh hell, I'm leaning into this. And I said to him, and it was a big lesson in my life. I said, well, I've worked so fucking hard on this. You know, like, I mean, that was an honest statement, but I was trying, and he said, like, he almost retracted his compliment. And he was like, you're supposed to work hard, motherfucker. I mean, he didn't say motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, is so.
No, but he's not wrong.
I do agree. Effort is important, but it's also required.
Well, look. We live in a world where people feel like they should get paid or get praise for doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah,
right. That was his point.
There are things you're supposed to do.
About you for doing what you were supposed to do.
You're supposed to do certain things. Yeah, exactly. You don't get praise for things you're supposed to do. But we live in a world that's different than that now.
So I think that both of those, the Hope Dealer and Kev got great points on that. Is like, yeah, effort truly does matter. Yeah. I do think it's required, and this is the most elite of elite. This is where the NFL people don't understand, and I'm sure the major leagues. If you go watch Bull Durham when they talk about getting to the show, everybody's good. And that was actually Dr. Swanson's message to me. It's like, he's like, bro, everybody here is smart.
Yeah.
Everybody here is talented. Is when talent meets hard work, meets, all these things have to come together. Let's go back to the Hope Dealer for a second call. We got to plow through.
Hey, it's the Hope Dealer second call real quick. Yeah, first call I was talking about, Dave Canales talking about great effort. But look, I know I just been stressed, y'all. I'm just tired of this. I'm just tired of every season, man. We start out and just, I just want us to do good. That's all, man. Just understand that I'm a little stressed. But I did want to hit on one thing, man, the Trey Hendrickson thing. Look, man, Cincinnati said they want a first rounder plus a young defensive player. So taking on that plus his contract for a 30-year-old pass rusher, man, get out of here, man. I don't want us to get Trey Hendrickson. I think we'll get housed. I think we just need to focus on developing Scorton and Princely, man. And plus, here's the thing. Even if we got Trey Hendrickson, y'all, I don't even trust Ajiro Avero to help him get his best production.
Joe made a good point.
Y'all remember we had
3-4,
Frankie Louvu,
4-3 defensive end potential.
some of the other players that we had that's balling out. Other players, remember Jeremy Chin? Like Evero has proven like he don't get the best out of his players. So I'm almost afraid that if we got a Trey Hendrickson with everything that we have to give up to get him, that he wouldn't even perform as well as he did in Cincy because of Evero. So I'm a no for the trade, man. But anyway, it's the Hope Dealer, y'all. I know it's preseason, man. Look, y'all pray for me, man, because I really want us to do good. And my bet is still out there. If we make the playoffs, party at the Hope Dealer's house. Love y'all, C3 Legion.
Hey, get ready for that party. Get ready for the party. 'Cause I'm telling you right now, we're making the playoffs this year.
Oh my God, Greg is a changed person. This mug.
I'm telling you, man, I'm saying that we're making the playoffs this year. Look. Let me just put it like this, okay?
You're probably a damn. Well, actually, I'm not.
What did I always say? What did I always say about Bryce? I don't believe Bryce is the right choice. But if he starts to show he is, I will admit I'm wrong, and I will go with him.
You're right.
Based on the way the last 8 or 9 games went last year, if Bryce Young, with the new talent he has, can play that way, we will be a playoff team. I will admit that I was wrong with that. I'm okay with that. Totally cool. Because you know what? I win either way. I'm either right about Bryce being wrong, about being bad, or we win games. Either way, I win. It's a great head step.
Evolutionarily a step ahead of most people because he's just willing to change his mind. Right.
Well, it's not even matter what
this is a great example of God is good.
Agreed. Yeah.
It's just like, what the fuck? Because Greg comes on and he's the most. This is awesome. It's incredible.
I brought my blanket. Yeah.
Spivey underscored the GOAT 12 says, I need someone on this team to be good enough that I want to buy their jersey. This is a fucking wonderful comment. First, the Panthers do not have a single person so far, and I know if they ain't got them so far in this, because right now I got it pulled up, or I had it pulled up. I think I pulled it down. They're at 21. The NFL does the players vote for the top 100 players. The Panthers don't have a single fucking player in the top 100. That's
cool. That's cool.
I mean,
hey, look at 2015.
How is that cool? We don't even got one player. We can't get 99, Greg. We can't get one.
Look at 2015, man. Look, man, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, if you're going to buy a Panthers jersey right now, buy a T-Mac jersey.
I agree, man. Look,
buy a T-Mac jersey. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I was not a huge fan of this draft pick because I wanted a great tight end. There were 2 great tight ends there. I was not a huge fan. But I've seen what I've seen with him so far, and the hype, and what he's like. Honestly, it was one play. It was one play for me in the first preseason game, an over-the-head catch that Bryce put right in the bucket. Yeah, Bryce put right in the bucket.
You think it's important,
and he caught that. And I think this guy could be the next big thing. To be truly honest with you,
I got a good take on this. Why was that such a great catch? It wasn't just a great throw and catch. It wasn't just separation, but what did he do in mid?
It's just his ability to track the ball like that being able to turn his head and still keep a visual on where the ball is going to be. That is just so dang impressive.
He turned he turned his head from the right to the left or the left. Right.
And that ball was also placed perfectly by Bryce. Like I'll give Bryce credit. That ball was a perfect throw where only T-Mac gets that ball. Only a guy like T-Mac to catch that ball. Yeah, that was a perfect. And if we can get that kind of production this season, we do have something to mess with. Like people are going to have to fear us with that right there because that was amazing. That was playoff caliber football right there. Just that one play right there. I saw and I was like, "Yep, okay."
D Young, our boy D Young says, "Can I interest you in the future Rookie of the Year, McMillan? I drafted him one fantasy league." Here, I will say this is I got one different answer because this is embarrassing. I should not say stuff like this on a podcast. It's like, we're the best Panther fan, whatever. I'm not trying to say that. I mean, I'm just me. The last jersey I bought was a Shaq Thompson jersey. And I bought it before he played a snap. And it created all of this like weird relationship I have with Shaq Thompson that was unfair to him, unfair to me, right? Is like because I bought a player's jersey before I loved them. I mean, I love the concept of them, but I tell you this, I'm about to do it again. And I went on the site and you can't even fucking buy his jersey. This is some bullshit. You cannot buy the Panthers' second round pick straight up. Nick Scorton. You have to, but you have to get a custom. Think about this. You have to get a custom made, like you have to buy the jersey that's your name where you put the number on. I think this is totally fucked up because, and also Panthers, I got big problems with you guys on this one because I love Damiere Byrd. They're still selling Damiere Byrd jerseys up there for like $120, which is crazy. But I want that Nick Scorton jersey because he wears number 11. And my birthday is 11/11, and I was born at 11:11 p.m. I want that one. Why is the number 2 second round pick, his jersey, not just available? You got to get it custom made. Come on, Panthers, do better.
Because that is not a sexy position until he makes it a sexy position. That's all there is to it.
He's a pass rusher.
That's all there is to it. Yeah, exactly.
I can buy a fucking Damiere Byrd jersey, and I love Damiere Byrd, but like, how can you buy a Damiere Byrd jersey, but you can't buy a Nick Scorton one?
I agree with you, but name 3 pass rushers in the NFL you would wear right now. Until he makes it a sexy position, until he stands out to make it a sexy position.
But like we can go Myles Garrett, we could go
because they make it sexy.
A bunch of them, yeah.
Because they make it sexy, man. I'm telling you, once he does that, and I think he will, then you'll be able to buy it.
Greg, I don't think it's about that. I think he's a second round pick. And like, if you're not even gonna print your second round pick's jersey, come on. He's a second round. I'm not trying to buy what's the Damani Richards jersey or some shit. I'm not like, I mean, it's the second round pick on a defensive rebuild, and you got to get it custom made. Panthers,
and to be honest,
maybe I should ice y'all up for that shit.
Well, to be honest with you, our second and third round pick were both first round projections.
Right, but like, why is it not a standard jersey? Why do I got to pay $40 more to make it my jersey? You know what? Then I might as well just get done. 11.
You know why? Because you will pay that money if you want it that bad. They know how to get your money out of you, bud.
You know what? This cheap-ass motherfucker is looking for a Chinese jersey. I was on DL Gate or whatever these sites were, which by the way is I did buy, and this is ice me up for this, is that Shaq Thompson jersey I'm still upset about was a fake ass Chinese jersey. And I got no shame in that shit. I will I'll buy that fake ass shit. All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey guys, John B. Jenkins here, calling in with another update on alternative football leagues from around the world. And as always, I'm going to start off with an update on the European League of Football, which will actually probably, unfortunately, be ending at the end of this season. It may have just ended at the end of this past week. The regular season just ended. And in the ELF, I believe the way the ownership structure is worked out is I think the league owns the majority of the ownership in all the teams, but there's some sort of personal owners. Anyway, there's a dispute with the money between the league and the team owners. And so a group of those teams, which luckily does include the Panthers Broswaw, there's about 8 to 10 of those teams right now that are going to break off and form the European Football Alliance, or the EFA. And it actually puts the playoffs in jeopardy. The playoffs are supposed to start this weekend. We will see if that happens, but there is rumor of a boycott. Moving on, a league that is not going anywhere is the IFL, the Indoor Football League, and they will be celebrating their, I believe it's going to be the 19th championship game this coming weekend against the Green Bay Blizzard and the Vegas Nighthawks. Green Bay is led by MVP of the league, Max Mailer, and they're a great team, and it's going to be a very exciting game. So, again, as always, check those highlights on YouTube. Speaking of MVP, Bryce Perkins, I know you guys are all aware of that. He's a great player. I think it's going to be fun to watch him play tomorrow night. I hope he gets to stick on the team. I'm worried, kind of like Diesel Skills said, that maybe this is just another camp body. But he's a good player. He was sidelined by a neck injury in his early on in his NFL backup career, and that kind of derailed his career. He got a shot again in the UFL and again got the MVP on it. So, updates on other leagues around the league. The National Arena League is getting a new team called the Dallas Bulls. And then in the AF1, the former Arena Football League, they're getting the the most recent champions of the National Arena League are moving up into the AF1, the Beaumont Renegades. Anyway, I don't know if I still have time left. They're getting a new team called the Kentucky Barons. And last but not least, I want to just address the guy on Twitter named Brad Lee and his stupid clickbait tweet. If something come of that, please somebody let me know. But that's
all right. John B, I'm gonna give you. All right, so that's John B. Jenkins. Tell somebody in the chat. I'm sure everybody in the chat knows what's up. But what's Bradley doing? Let's keep going. We got a bunch of calls still to go.
Hey, fellas, with the news today of Richardson being set down by the coach for Daniel Jones and the fact that his agent has even said it's possible he gets moved this year, do you think it's possible if Bryce begins this season like he did last year and just starts out slow and we feel like he may not be the guy that we go ahead and do a 1-for-1 for Anthony Richardson?
No.
The man that was called Baby Kim when he was a Florida coming out in the draft.
Because
He
it's
was in a
not
Panthers uniform. And to think about going from a small, diminutive guy to a large man with those athletic skills.
That can't play. That gets injured every time he plays. No.
I think the call was fair when you're talking about a second benching, because the Colts coach was asked by a reporter in a very respectful way, what does it mean the second time you bench some? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there a way for him to be a starter in the future? Shane Steichen would be the head coach. So I do think that call is like an important call. There is like, what would happen if we were at that point? And we don't want. That's why I say shut the hell up, because we can't even think about that shit yet.
Nope.
But then it comes off the rails when it's like, let's get Anthony Richardson. All right. Look, this is 16-second call.
Hey, Tony Dunn, big fan. Well, they say that the preseason games don't matter, but I think they do. And I think we're just going to turn like we did last year, so I hope we're better, but we'll see.
Man, that mug said he was a big fan of me. That's some cool shit right away. That mug getting applause. No,
and look, here's the thing. Go back real quick to the Anthony Richardson call. Okay, like I would say that I'm a top 10% fantasy football player. Like I have a good knowledge of what's going on in fantasy football. The worst pick I've ever made was drafting Anthony Richardson. Now, luckily, I've done so well that doesn't hurt me. But this guy is not an NFL quarterback. Okay, he has the ability to have the talent to be an NFL quarterback, but he is made of glass. Dude literally gets hurt every time he takes the field. He gets hurt. Anthony Richardson will never be a quarterback in the NFL.
He checks himself out of games. Look, I am at the last moment when we were all doing that build up. We had the pick. We were gonna like, who do we want? Stroud, right? We were all doing this, and I changed. I'll admit this. I changed when the wind blew. I'd be like, oh, I want this one. I want that one. I went this way, that way, right? Like I had all these different things. I at the very last, at the 11th hour, I was like, I want I wouldn't be mad about Anthony Richardson. And the reason being is because I know I'm a cam sexual. And a friend of mine once told me this, and this was when Blake Bortles was drafted, like at the top, and he wasn't like, he didn't have the tape, he didn't have this. He said some guys look good in a football jersey, like it's kind of a Matt Rule pick in a sense, and that is like you check. You're a Madden player, right? Like you got the size, you got the speed, you got this, and you got that.
Right.
And so I look, it's like I know this is like I just gotta type. That's what I gotta type. And the mug is like a big, strong athlete, can run, do all this, but no, is Anthony Richardson, you know what? Is I'm rooting for him. But you know who I'm rooting for even more than Anthony Richardson is for Trey Lance. With the Chargers, and not that he's going to have a shot with the Chargers, but it would be a great story if that Trey Lance isn't that somehow is in the league in a couple of years. So I'm like, because Trey Lance, by the way, is the same age as the guy that got drafted and who will be starting by the Saints. So I was on that. Do you remember when we were doing the same thing? We were the Kenny Pickett, the this and that, and I have the type. I got the type, right? So I saw Trey Lance throw it 80 yards from his knees and do all this. I was like, oh, I'm in, right? But it doesn't mean anything, right? But it really is neat. I hope Anthony Richardson has a career. I'm not rooting for anybody not have a career, but I will tell you, if I got one type ahead of him. I'm like 2 years ahead of that draft. I still am rooting for. You know what? I would say this is I'd rather for the Panthers if that shit happens that the caller said right, and like we're gonna go. I don't want Anthony. I want Trey Lance. Let's try that.
I'll agree with you, to be honest with you, on that. Look, I had Trey Lance on my fantasy team for 2 years, just sitting on the bench.
Cody too much.
Because I thought maybe something would happen.
Stop listening to Cody and the draft nerds, Greg.
Hey, whatever. I beat Cody in the championship last year. I ain't worried about him.
Yeah, but he sucks at fantasy football. He sucks at fantasy football. But them draft nerds, man, they're just too ahead of the curve. All right, we'll keep going with some calls and we got still some show to go and we'll power through.
What's up, gentlemen? Greetings from beautiful Idaho. Hey, I just wanted to call in. Thanks for getting Joe on. That was awesome. I love that guy out here in Idaho. I still read the Observer. Miss him home. I'll be back there soon. Hey, I wanted to call. I called in a couple weeks ago and I didn't hear my call, and that's no problem. I'm
sorry.
But I just wanted to follow up with it. I called in because everyone was talking about Bryce and the year he's going to have, and he needs to have, 28 touchdowns and at least 800 yards. This team, we're built to run the ball, and that's what I want to get your opinion on. Is I don't give a shit about preseason. I really don't. Nobody does. But small sample size we've seen, man. I don't see this offensive line taking second stringers back 3 yards so that Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard can run the ball down their throats. And that's what I'm worried about. I mean, obviously the defense. Yeah. Second string linebackers starting the game, and God knows who's behind them. So just want to get your thoughts. How do you guys feel about the run game after this preseason disaster? Yeah. Anyway, keep pounding. One more draft away. We're going to be there. 2027.
I think that if you
love what you do.
Great call, thank you. I'm sorry if we missed your call in the past. And we do try to get everybody's calls in. But when it comes to the run game, is we looked at some of the play diversity as the Panthers offense in the preseason has been pass heavy. We hope that that's not indication too much of like you're seeking the balance and different things. I think it's really hard. It's kind of like judging a running back or defensive. Like it's kind of like how does the defensive front win in practice when they're not allowed to tackle the quarterback, right? When they're not allowed, how do you go, oh, this defense in training camp, the offense always wins, right? Because the defense can't do the dog man. Like you got to worry about hurting people, shit like that. But they're trying to kill people on the other side. I think there's some of that comes with preseason and training camp too, with the running game, is that's real gritty ass shit. That's the gritty ass football that wins games, and that's what you do in the season. So I don't think that I'm not necessarily believing that the Panthers are just going to be like a 70% passing team. And, that are going to, I think that we will see far more balance. I think the Panthers are going to depend upon the run. Greg, as I go to the next call, I do want you to think about this question after the call. Is there any out? And I know the easy answer might be Tet. So maybe don't do Tet. But is there any fantasy value late in the draft for Panther players? Because I'm in some.
Oh yeah.
But hold on, we're gonna do one more call. But I want you to think about it, because I'm in some deep leagues. I'm in a 12-team league. I'm in a keeper. You know what I'm saying? Like these very competitive, where you're scraping to get a running back, your third running back in the 6 or 7. You know what I'm saying? But I think there may be some hidden value on the fantasy lineup. So maybe outside of Tet, who you thinking? We'll take one more call and you can answer that.
Yo, boys, what's up? I'm nervous about this season. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The preseason not looking too hot. I think the offense is going to be really good. It depends on Bryce, honestly. I'm pretty confident in all the other rooms, like receiver, running back, tight end, offensive line. It just comes down to Bryce. And if he's good, this offense will be one of the best in the league. My question is defensively, why haven't the Panthers added anyone to the linebacking room or secondary? I mean, you look at linebacker, we have Wallace, Barnes, and Roseboom. That's just not good enough. There's no one there. And in the secondary, we have J.C. Horn, who's injury prone. We have Mike Jackson, who's kind of boomer bust. We have Merrick, who's okay.
Mike Jackson is the truth,
he's
bro.
not the greatest
He's
coverage
good.
safety. And then we have Nick Scott, who the fan base wants to freaking light on fire. And there's plenty of good options out there. We just haven't gone after them. And I feel like we should go after a Trey Hendrickson, add to that pass rush, or maybe a Micah Parsons. But I don't know. What do y'all think?
We asked this to Joe Person, CK, and look, we had this right here. It's like I love Cody so much, which I love all of y'all, everybody so much. But hold on, where is it? I'm going backwards. We asked a little question about this. Is actually the Panthers are the second betting favorite for a team that could land, and not far behind. Wait, it says, and behind the team that he's on. So, if you went and betted who would Trey Hendrickson play for this season, the best odds are for the Bengals, right? Is you would have to put up $100. You would win $45 or something like that if you put up 100 or something like that. So the Panthers will give you plus money. The Colts will be plus money. The Packers, the Chargers. We talked with Joe Person earlier, and I think that's the point to think about. Is not even he did bring up that Trey Hendrickson kind of more suited for a 4-3 type of defense, or at least it seems like that. I know we all want to go back to that and this and that, but I think that we have to continue. While there are weaknesses and holes on the Panthers, that we're not one player away. And trading around draft picks and money and this and that for is that, yeah, of course it would help. Adding talent will help any talentless team. By the way, we don't have a single player in the top 100, right? We would get a top. That's how we get our top 100 player. We trade for him. But is it moves the needle just enough for a storyline for a week? Does it really change the long-term trajectory? Greg, is there some? I'm in a 12-teamer, right? Or in these like very competitive, smart leagues. Where is I think I have a couple of answers. I do think there might be some value, but I try to stay away from teams that I have an emotional component to because I think I inflate their value a little. Greg, is there any value deep in the NFL in the fantasy football draft on the Carolina Panthers? And let me see if these names are similar.
There is. Look at it like this. Like last year, Chuba Hubbard was like a top 10 running back.
Yeah, but he's early. That dude's a top 5. He's a 5th round pick ahead. That most
check it out, though. Check it out, though. Chuba Hubbard had 15 more rushes than Rico Dow did last year and 100 more yards. So as far as yards go, Dowell, yeah. Okay, so Dowell is like based on how we use him, Dowell is just as good as Chuba Hubbard. The only difference is Hubbard had 10 touchdowns, Dowell had 2.
Or we also had Hubbard gets hurt.
Right?
Exactly.
So Chuba Hubbard gets hurt,
like the 10th round.
I agree. Dowell can be a great pickup. Now, Adam Thielen is the same way.
Boom.
I think he's going to be a 3rd-string quarterback this year. Adam Thielen, if you he only played 10 games last year. He had 615 yards and 5 touchdowns. If you extrapolate that out for 18 games, he's a 1,000-yard receiver with 10 touchdowns. Well, 9 maybe 10 touchdowns.
All right, so let me see if there's a 3rd name that I think that there's value on this team. And let's see if we're on the same page. Who is
I think if you look at Sanders and tight end, Sanders has the possibility.
We're on the fucking
Sanders has the possibility. If we use him as a receiving tight end, not just a blocking tight end, I think Sanders has the possibility to be a tight end 2 in fantasy football. Not a number 1 guy, not a top 10 guy, but a top 20 guy.
Right.
In that position.
If you've drafted 2 tight ends, right? Like this is your plan. You got these 2 tight ends, and we're down in the deep doldrums of stuff, Greg, right? But then you got to think about Tommy Tremble, lower back surgery, stuff like this. Is that I think this is that you said the exact same names. And because it's not that I think that these players are going to necessarily be great on their own right, Greg. Right.
But they'll be solid players for subs, for 2nd rounder, or backups.
And particularly if some things happen in those systems, right?
Yeah.
Is in those systems, if Chuba's he's gonna be bell cow, right? But they're gonna want to mix it up no matter what. So Dowdle's gonna get some touches regardless. But if anything,
think about we had Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams. You can run a 2 running back system and have 2 good running backs.
Yeah, but you're picking this person as a backup, right? With the opportunity that
Dowd had 1,000 yards last year.
I like it.
He's not a backup running back. Like there were 12 running backs last year who had 1,000 yards.
And
he's one of them.
And it's really hard if we're going to make a bet, Greg, right now, to say that there would be a wide receiver on this team outside of Tet. Like we're just excited about Tet and him. Finally, we're going to get a star, right? But the odds are that Thielen will have the most yards.
Yeah. Thielen and Bryce Young have a good connection. They play well together. They understand each other. I don't think Thielen is our future because he's kind of long in the tooth. He's getting a little old. I think Coker or Leggett take over Thielen's spot eventually. But I think right now Thielen's our number 2 guy.
And it's just going to be a guy that's going to get you some. You need some points, man. You need some points from them deep players when somebody gets hurt. You just need a player, like, because you're not starting those players from the beginning of the season. Like, you're not like, but it's when you get an injury on your team.
Or you have buys or something like that.
Right?
I don't think Thielen
they get an injury on their team. So I think Dowdle, I think Jatavius Sanders shoot up in the ranks if Tommy Tremble, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. We've got 2 more calls. We got a couple more things to do in the show. We just got to talk a little Cam. It's the C3 Panthers podcast. We have to talk about Cam.
Cam, yeah.
Hey, this is Corey from Keep Pounding channel on YouTube.
Oh, what's up, man?
I wanted to talk about Chuba Hubbard and his comments today. I'm very impressed with how much leadership he has shown and, how much he has grown as a player and as a person, in the amount of time that he's been a Panther.
He's a top 10 running back.
Think back to his first years, he had catching issues and fumbling issues and, even issues with the Q&As in the pressers. And now, look at him making these guys run gassers, and telling them, we're family. You're going to see some heat. You're going to see some frustration, but we're a family at the end of the day. Let's come together. And I love that. I love that Chuba is showing that leadership, and he's got my vote as a captain this year. Keep pounding.
If he's not a captain,
I
I'd be
agree.
surprised.
Yeah, I agree.
I
He
agree.
should be. Yeah, he was one of the best players we had on offense last year, period. Did you think of another top 10 player we had on offense? I don't think there was one.
Yeah, but man,
I think
he was him and Adam Thielen were the best players on the offense last year.
I think you could make an argument for three potential. I mean, if you want to count Bryce Young, 4 potential players on offense.
Tell us
to
the
be
captain.
to be a captain. It's going to be Chuba, Adam Thielen.
All right.
Bryce Young is the other one that I said was maybe the fourth one, if you want to consider him.
But
the fourth one, in my opinion, would be Robert Hunt.
Oh, I like that one. I
Really?
like that.
Okay.
I think that's great. You could go Taylor Moton just for the tenure.
I think Robert
Hunt is the guy. I think you're right. He's taking on an ownership, a leadership
Take off
role.
them bags. Take them bags off your head. He's talking to the fans. He has been, every time there's a good play, who's there within a matter of 5 seconds? It is always Robert Hunt. He's always celebrating.
What I don't know how many captains we have, but to just make it fun, CK, if we had 3, right? Because we got 4 names. Who are they?
Dude, I think you would take Thielen off that list.
No,
just on those
CK
4 that
gave
I
us
said.
4 names, which I think are reasonable. Boom, they're going to be top balloters, right? Was Bryce Young, Adam Thielen? No, it's Bryce Young, Adam Thielen, Chuba Hubbard, and
Robert Hunt.
But I don't know how many captains they can have, but let's just make a rule up that they can only have 3. So we got to cut 1. Who are your captains, CK?
I'm cutting Thielen off of that captain's list.
So it's going to be Bryce, Chuba, and Hunt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm cutting Hunt. I'm having Bryce Thielen and Chuba, just because Bryce Thielen and Chuba have produced the most in the last year. And it sucks because when you look at Robert Hunt, you can't gauge his production the way you can everybody else's.
Yeah.
Man,
that's the difficult part.
Oh, I'm sorry. Look, I know you guys, the show suffers when Cody's not here. The comments aren't getting cycled through. Keep pounding. 3869 says, I'm cutting Bryce, which is funny.
You got to have Bryce as a captain, man. If your quarterback's not a captain, something's wrong. That is supposed to be the captain of your team. He's got to be a captain.
That's the reason I don't want to cut Bryce from that list.
He's gotta be a captain.
You're undercutting his leadership, and I think he's shown more leadership.
And to be fair, the last 8 games of the season last year, 8 or 9 games of the season last year, he was a top 6 quarterback in the NFL.
It was like 6. But the back end, he was better. I agree with you guys. I think is that you have Bryce by default of that momentum, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what you need, the leadership, the position, that's a given. He has to be. If he's not a captain, it would be a bad symbol for everything that we're hoping for.
Yeah.
So I agree exactly with CK's list. And I do think that Thielen is captain worthy because he is
I agree.
Productive and all this, but his career also was with other teams. This is going to be his last year. But Hunt has years ahead with us.
That's the reason that I'm saying Thielen's coming off of
100.
Number one is
honestly, go ahead, sir.
I was going to say, in my opinion, Thielen's off of that list in this scenario, not because I don't think he's worthy of the spot. I think
it's
it
too old
only
for the presidency.
Well, not just too old for the presidency. I think he is old enough and he doesn't need to prove that he's a captain to anybody, right? It's a great honor to be able to do that, but he's had that honor so many times. I think it's okay for the honor to go to somebody who is the future of the Panthers, and that's not Thielen. No matter as much as we want it to be.
It's like Robert Hunt will be actually getting the real PhD, and Adam Thielen gets that honorary PhD. You know, where it's like, oh, we gave you you didn't go to Harvard, but we gave you an honorary PhD because we like you. And Adam Thielen has been 1,000-yard receiver for the team for a few years, right? Like he's done it. But that's the same argument. Ultimately, I agree with that list 100.
All right, Greg, what you got?
Here's the only reason I disagree with that. And I understand exactly what you're saying, and it's a very good argument. And I'm not even saying you're wrong. Thielen's got maybe 1 year left of being a captain status on this team. Like you just said, Robert Hunt has the chance of being a captain for years. So give Thielen this last year to be a captain, because you can make the argument Thielen's a top 5-6 receiver in Carolina Panthers franchise history, just based on the few years he's been here. Go look at his stats. Go look at his stats.
First, Greg, I think that
name 5 better wide receivers. Name 5 better wide receivers than Adam Thielen.
Honestly true. I think it's honestly true, but isn't that the saddest fucking thing you've ever heard? Is a guy that didn't want to come to the team, that was on the worst fucking teams that we ever had, and he was better than 80%. It's sad. That's sad.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't Adam Thielen on our practice squad, and then we cut him, and he went to Minnesota?
No. He came from Minnesota as a star. He was on. That's how he got to Minnesota, and he became a Pro Bowler. But the point being, is that,
amazing.
I mean, it's actually a reasonable argument, and not a reasonable argument because I don't think he should be captain. I think I'm with CK. I'm gonna stick on this.
Yeah,
but,
it's very good.
But like, I mean, imagine this: is that we've had a couple of shows in the past 14 years where we talked about the historic kind of production from the wide receiver core. And look, I mean, you're talking about Ted Ginn Jr. being arguably the 4th best receiver in Panther history.
No.
I mean, like, if
you're talking about single season stats, maybe. But if you're talking about overall, there's no way Ted Ginn is in that group. There's no way.
Give me the 4 ahead. Give me the 4 ahead of them.
Just receivers?
No, Steve Smith. Right,
Steve Smith,
Muhammad.
You're talking about just receivers. You're talking about
just receivers.
Look, man. Kelvin Benjamin had a better year than Ted Ginn did in 2015. Okay, Kelvin Benjamin had a better rookie season than Julio Jones did. Okay, I'm not saying he's a good receiver, but he had a better rookie season than Julio Jones did. Look at the numbers.
I hate to tell you this, Greg, is that Ted Ginn Jr. had 4. I'll look it up.
Greg Olsen was a better receiver.
He's a tight end. Doesn't count. He doesn't get a count.
He's still a receiver.
No,
DJ Moore is a better receiver.
Tight end.
I would take Rocket Ismail over Ted Ginn.
Only 2 years. No. All right.
Well, how long did Ted Ginn play for?
Here, hold on. He did play 3 years for us because he had a 2-year stint, and then he left,
and then he came back.
But
and then he went to the Saints, and
Greg,
we paid
the
him.
point is, Greg, I actually get what your emotional reaction is because I have the same. I'm like, no fucking way. But like when we really break it down, is that the Panthers haven't had anybody. We're talking DJ Moore. It goes Steve Smith. It goes Muhsin Muhammad. Then you're putting DJ Moore. Then you're going to get.
I put DJ Moore over Muhsin Muhammad.
Make an argument for one other person. I will say this is like somebody else's. But like Ted Ginn is the 5th. Like it's like there's an argument. I don't care if you agree with it. Like it's a legitimate argument, which is crazy. It's fucking crazy that in 20
Hold on. You guys, this is the wild part. So I'm going back, entering the 2021 season, which isn't even including DJ Moore's stuff. DJ Moore by that, because there was still 2 more seasons of DJ Moore, or at least 1 more season of DJ Moore at that point. So DJ Moore was number 5 on this list of most in receiving yards.
Right.
It was Smith, Musa Muhammad, Greg Olson, Wesley Walls, DJ Moore.
Tight end. You can't count.
Yeah.
You can't count.
Christian
Why
McCaffrey.
he's a receiver? He's a receiver.
No, Wesley Walls was a tight end. Like we're just
He's
talking about.
still a receiver.
No. We're just talking position only.
Christian McCaffrey was number 6. Number 7 is Mark Carrier.
These are receiving yards. So the most receiving yards in Panthers history are not by receivers, which is
number
okay.
8. Number 8, Kelvin Benjamin.
Right.
Number 9 is Brandon LaFell. And number 10 is Devin Funchess. Ginn isn't even on the list.
Exactly. Let me ask you, Tony, what is the 2015 Ted Ginn's best season? How many yards did he have?
Here, I'm gonna play the call. I did a whole show on this one.
He had less than 750 yards.
We're gonna do the
less than 750 yards, dude.
No, we're gonna do the last call of the night, right? And then we got to do a little Cam last work, and then we got to do our ice up. So let's do the last call while I look those up. All right. But
Ted Ginn is number 12 all time.
What I'm saying,
There's a contract. I think had more yards that year. Let me find out.
No, what I am saying is this: if you eliminated the people on that list that were not wide receivers, and I'm not saying that they didn't; those people didn't catch the ball.
1, 2, 3, 4,
the
5,
most
6,
prolific
7 people in front of him.
Right, but they were all
No.
just who are the wide receivers? Tell me
Steve
the wide
Smith, Musa Muhammad, DJ Moore. Give me a second. Was Mark Carrier not? Oh, okay, gotcha. Never mind.
Mark Carrier's a wide receiver.
Yeah,
Right, but see, I don't think they. So again, all right. So not homegrown, but fine. So say
Kelvin Benjamin, Brandon LaFell, Devin Funchess, Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Ted Ginn did not have a great 2015 year. He was our deep threat guy that we loved. He only had 739 yards. He didn't have a great year in 2015.
That's actually my point, Greg. Is that we haven't had a prolific receiver.
We've had a few. We've had a few.
We haven't.
DJ Moore and Steve Smith are Hall of Fame wide receivers.
That's it.
And Musa Muhammad.
30 years we've had 2 receivers, dude. 30 years. 30 years we've had 2 receivers that are worth a fucking shit.
Okay, let me ask you something. The Dallas Cowboys are a franchise that has been around forever. Name 4 receivers that they have, 4 Hall of Fame receivers they have.
Urban, right?
Okay.
Well, right now they got CD Lamb.
He's in,
they had Des Bryant.
Okay, there's 3.
I'm not even a fucking Cowboys
fan, but what I'm saying is you've seen they've been around for 70 years or 60 years, and they only have 3 or 4.
Right, we have no, and then look, and when you look at what the yards of Devin Funchess and these people are, first of all, let's never the idea that anybody is celebrating at any moment Kelvin Benjamin, Devin Funchess. So look, Brandon LaFell, which I actually was like the one person that liked Brandon LaFell. Think about that. Is like we're trying to argue that Brandon LaFell is a top 5 receiver in Panther history. Do you know how fucking sad that is?
Okay, when you say it like that, yes, of course, it sounds very sad.
Point about this. All right, final call, and then let's power through this last thing about Cam.
C3 Panther Nation, it's your boy
and called in the wild, but it's your boy Preston from Newton, Hickory, whatever. Man, that was I really liked that interview with Joe Person. That was great. Very professional guys. Good work. Good job, everybody. But yeah, one thing I want to zero in on, because I know Canales, he's one of these new age coaches that don't do no yelling or screaming, but you know, I played football. I know exactly how that is. And Ron Rivera,
Can't hurt feelings.
he was a stern coach. He wasn't a rah-rah yell at him all the time, but he got his fucking point across. So, I mean, Canales might be a little soft, but I mean, you know, that's today's age anyway. But one thing that I really liked was Bryce and Chuba making the guys, you know, run gassers, and they were holding their teammates accountable. I like that. I really, really like that. That to me seems like something that, you know, you would see Cam or TD do back in 2015. I really like that. I'm not, of course, with the preseason, anybody getting too high or too low on the preseason, yeah, it's preseason, calm down. But I'm excited. I am. I can't hold it too much. I'm just a Panthers fan, so I am excited for this upcoming season, man. Hopefully, week 1 in Jacksonville. Baby. Keep pounding, boys. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Great call. All right, so I got Ted Ginn, Adam Thielen, and Devin Funchess pulled up. Who is the one other person? Give me somebody else. All right, so Ted Ginn, 3 years in Carolina, had 2,000 yards. Right? He had hold on, where are touchdowns at? Receiving touchdowns. Sorry, there's an ad in front of me.
It's like 650 yards a year.
No, 3 years in Carolina, he had 11 touchdowns. So he had 2,000 yards, 11 touchdowns.
It's like 650 and 4 touchdowns a year.
3 years, but think 3 years.
He had 19 touchdowns.
That's like 650 yards and 4 touchdowns a year. Yeah. So.
And hold on. You're right. I might have been looking at wrong.
You were looking at Curtis Samuel, I think, was 14.
No, I was looking at the wrong category. So that mug also had 11 rushing touchdowns. Think about that.
Well, that's different. When you add that in, you're right. It definitely does play a factor. Yeah.
But he had 2,000 yards. Think of this. Adam Thielen has played for the Carolina Panthers for just 2 years, 1 year less. And I think there's an argument that Greg's making is like he might be. He has had 1,600 yards, and he has had 9 touchdowns. So, like, Adam Thielen might be like the 5th best. Devin Funchess played for the Carolina Panthers for 4 years. He had 2,200 yards, so he had 200 more yards with 1 year more. He had 21 touchdowns, which is receiving, which is kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
That's my point is the Panthers receiving core history has been terrible. All right. We'll get back into that later on. I just think that's a sad point about the whole shit, not a celebration. Where is Cody at? Here we go. All right. This story came up. This isn't about Cam. Story came up today about Reich, Frank Reich, because they're talking about former first round picks and stuff like this. Basically, all y'all Panther fans and all of us were right. We don't need vindication. This is a story that comes up today. They're talking about other players. They're talking about, I think, the Anthony Richardson. I think the Caleb Williams prompted this, but then Reich and these different kind of get some strays here. 2 summers removed, and it was Scott Fowler's son, I think, or Fowler, the one that works for ESPN, from his lone training camp with Bryce Young. Reich is now reflective. Now the interim coach at Stanford, he recalls a feeling of optimism around the start of the fleeting Reich Young era. Quote, I felt the challenge of this taking over a team with problems to solve, but I wasn't worried about it, and we felt it's going to work. We've got good coaches. Bryce is a good player. We have good players. We'll get we'll get draft picks, right? Tepper will invest and make moves. But Reich acknowledged the Panthers launch Young experiment with the roster challenge, thanks in part to pre-2023 draft that yielded Panthers #1 pick and the right to draft Young. Carolina gave up veteran DJ Moore, but they continue on here. Reich saw it, the transition position for Young for success was going to take longer, he said. But while the lack of top-end talent might have been a known quantity, the absence of a shared vision among coaching staff proved harder to predict. This is the real problem that we run into. And I wanted to say something to Joe about this, is like when he said it can't get worse about the defense.
Yeah.
That's what I said about the Matt Rule era. And then we got this moment. Wright named Thomas Brown an ascending coach from the Los Angeles Rams coaching tree as his offensive coordinator. The plan was to blend Sean McVay's Rams system with Reich's offensive background and philosophy. But Reich was calling the plays for Young and said he realized at some point between spring and training camp that using McVay terminology while calling the plays himself wasn't going to feel right. So he made tweaks. So he turned the language around. One team source felt Reich never truly bought into Brown's plan of attack. Another believed the staff featured too many cooks in the kitchen. How many times did we say this? We got excited about like, oh, look at this pedigree. We didn't have any experience. Then we got all this pedigree. Preparing Young, who was 1-9 in 10 starts and ranked 29th in the NFL in total QBR with a rating of 32 when Reich was fired on November 27th. It didn't get better afterwards, as Young ended up 2-14 as the starter and finished second to last among QBR qualifiers. This is what Reich finished on the thing. I don't know if it ultimately ended up being fair to Bryce. Reich said of the blending of system, it wasn't because of Thomas. He brought his A game every day. Myself and the other guys that were with me were also doing the same thing. Everybody's working hard. In many respects, we brought together the best we could. It probably made it a little bit more difficult for Bryce. That's exactly what we all saw, CK. We all saw it, is that we went from a coaching staff that had no experience to a coaching staff that we just looked at their resumes entirely.
Yeah.
Right. And it was awful. And CK, do not, but I also suggest watching Hard Knocks. It's so good. The Bills Hard Knocks, but you're going to be like this. You're going to be like so sad because you're going to see all these former Panthers. You're going to like all this shit that's related to us. It's so crazy. Oh, thank you, Greg. I went full screen. Where is he at? You're not in there. I don't see it.
He's behind the I think he's had to go back out. You have to bring him in the show.
He just showed. All right. So the point is don't watch Hard Knocks. You should. Hard Knocks is so great this year with the Bills. You're gonna be like, oh, look at little white Cam with Josh Allen. You're gonna look at Brandon Beane. Shaq Thompson's in the shit. You're gonna see all this shit. They're at training at a college. All of these different things. The Frank Reich whole moment was so bad. And we were all right. We all knew it. So that's it. I think that is all we got. Canales said Damian Lewis. We talked about Cam with. That's it. I screwed up on the giveaway. I'm going to have to postpone it. You guys look for some tweets. I'll be giving away a lot more, and we'll accelerate it. I just got to get it together. Today was the first day of class. All right, Greg. Wonderful hanging out with you. CK, wonderful hanging out. But we have, say whatever you guys say. We still have one last segment, the longest running Panthers podcast. We got the longest running segment. We still got Ice some Fools up. So say what you guys say as I figure out how to do what Cody does and bring in the Ice Up picks.
Yep, I'll get on the computer and I can definitely help you do this whenever I can. I'm on my phone right now. But, man, it's so good to be back. Honestly, I was planning on coming back next week or two. Look, y'all have no idea. I got new intros, new bumpers, everything in the works right now. I'm just finalizing a lot of stuff. It's going to be a really fun season coming up, and we're gonna have some playoff football games to watch this year, y'all. Just mark my words. Look, Greg is almost always right.
Oh.
When I'm wrong, I'm really wrong, but I'm almost always right. And people go back and say that all the time. Go back and look at the stats. I'm almost always right. We're going to win playoff games this year. Or play playoff games this year, at least one. So,
Greg, an old man once told me, he said, I was wrong once. I said, what? Just once? I was like, what? He said, yeah, for thinking I was wrong.
Yeah.
The thing with that, Greg, and this is something that might get me some flack, but I think that there is an overall like majority truth to this. I think that, and this is nothing against, I want to make this abundantly clear. This is mainly regarding relationships. If you listen to what men say in the relationship, it's going to usually turn out better. Usually. And I'm not saying that women are always wrong. I'm just saying when it comes to the big decisions, it tends to be something you probably want to listen at least with some certainty.
That's masculine.
Well, hold on. Can I add to that?
I told my class this today. It's not a gender thing. Is this my advice to you? Is just always be involved with your books. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. Don't let somebody else run the books. That's without you. That's my advice. It's not that women or men are better. Is don't give somebody else the keys to your financial life. That's my advice.
Okay. Well, let me add to what CK says. Okay. And these are all stats. This is not me. These are all stats. Okay. And I'm not talking trash about anybody, about your lifestyle, the way you want to go. Lesbian relationships have the most divorces and domestic violence. After that, it's heterosexual, male and female have the most divorces and domestic violence. And then male and male relationships, homosexual relationships with male and males, have the least domestic violence and the least divorces of any in the world. Okay? So all I'm saying is there's one equation in all that. And when you take that one equation out, things always end up being better. So I'm saying. So I'm backing up a little bit with that, CK. I think it kind of correlates. So,
All right. It's time for the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. It's our time to ice some fools up. Let's go. It's our time to ice some fools up, where we step outside, where we can stay in football. I feel like these people just ice. I think they already got their ice ups out of the way, but no. It's our time to ice some fools up. As anybody is fair game. It's time to tell somebody to get it together. Our homage to Steve Smith. CK, do you got an ice up pick for us?
I'll let you guys go first.
Greg, I'm ready. Greg. Like, do you got one, Greg? I know you're on you're on the spot, so you can just hang around. But do you have an ice up? If not, I'm ready to go.
I do not, because I wasn't prepared, but I will say if anybody wants to have some fun, there is a SNL skit, because comedy's coming back. Because people are finally starting to stop being so offended about every damn thing in the world, and comedy's coming back. Go watch the SNL skit about woke pants. That's all I got to say. And if you go watch that, it's really, really funny. Really, really funny. SNL did a great job with that. SNL is a very political-based comedy show. Whatever is popular then is what they go with. So, but if you go back and watch the SNL skit they just came out with about the woke pants, it's really, really funny. So I would check that out.
Where is all right?
Here
we go. Hold on. So this is from the Falcons. No, it's a Saints Jags preseason game. And so when we say preseason, it doesn't matter. What I'll tell you this is I got to ice. I love to ice up a Saints fan, period. Here we go. Look at this. This is a fight. This is a fight at a preseason game.
Ooh, run that hoe. Get that bitch. Run that hoe. What's up there? Yup.
Don't shoot the leg of a big guy, but wait. No. All right. This is not. All right. He lost. But wait till he really loses.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he's losing. But here, this is the real loss right here. Man's pants fell off. Man's pants fell off. So he got his ass beat, his pants fell off. All right. Here is my real ice up pick. How do I start it without being creepy?
Don't let it be creepy. Be creepy.
I mean, I'm not creepy. I'm not creepy. It's not creepy.
I know
Actually,
you're
it's
not.
not
We know you're not. Yeah.
No, I'm not creepy. It's not creepy at all. All right, so let me see. Let me do this. Present. It's not creepy, but everybody knows I'm like the uncle here. All right, so see if I can get it bigger here. I see this this picture come up and turned Vegas into Dub City at Brianna Janelle, a reporter having to do somewhere with maybe, I mean, obviously there's a San Francisco 49ers player. As soon as I turned this on, I said, I don't want to look in the comments. I don't, but I got to.
The comments are always the best. Yeah.
Nah, because no, they're not the best, Greg. It's like the worst of humanity. It's the worst of humanity because I knew it was going to be two things. It was going to be two things. It was going to be either they were going to try to fat shame this girl, or they were going to be like, or they were going to try to say she used her body, like she isn't, like they tried to diminish her position. But I gotta say, these assholes in the comments, fuck y'all. Fuck y'all.
Yeah, I haven't seen the comments, but why would you try to fat shame her? She looks fine to me.
No,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
No fat shaming here, bro. This girl got 32 flavors of bootylicious bubble gum.
Yeah, it's fine to me.
She
like,
ain't fat, bro. She's just a little thick. I think she is. No. So you know what? Y'all stupid ass mugs in the comments were probably fat as fuck. This girl fire.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this is, you know what, girl? You do your thing. You fly, you fire, and keep your curves, because nobody ever had fun driving on a straight road. That's
there's nothing wrong with her at all. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with her at all. Yeah.
And by the way, I stole that from a rap song. She got, because this is a crime mob song. I got 32 flavors of that bootylicious bubble gum. It goes raspberry, grape, cherry, got that honey bun. Keep on, girl. Keep on. You know what? You trolls in the comments, like, you know what? You go on with your badass self, girl. Go on.
Yeah.
Ice up to all you stupid ass motherfuckers in the comments. She ain't fat, bro. She just a little thick. Also another rap song. That's it. Y'all stupid ass motherfuckers in the, like, man, I knew it was gonna be some fucking people. They probably, man, fuck them. That girl will be get on out of here, you stupid. Look, D Young knows. Nuck if you buck. Nuck if you buck. Because she goes, I'm knucking and bucking and ready to fight. She always, who is she? Is it Diamond or Princess, D Young? Because there's two in that rap group. It's either Diamond, there's two of them, Diamond or Princess. But she always comes in with the hardest fucking lines. I'm knucking and bucking and ready to fight. 32 flavors of that bootylicious bubble gum. All right, that's the C3. Oh, CK, you got to ice up for us and we get out of here. After midnight. This is the time of the year where we go forever.
My ice up is going to go towards, again, there's plenty of things that, anybody can criticize or what have you. It's going to go to, I don't know. I'm going to ice. I don't know who I'm icing up here. For the first time, saw a CNN article that was semi-positive about Trump. And I just find that.
Are you icing that up?
What's that?
Are you icing that up?
I'm icing up somebody who at CNN just had to bite their tongue. Like the fact that somebody had to write that and then the editor had to approve it, that they had to like basically do that through the like gritting their teeth. Talking about the fact that this push for Ukraine peace is something that he deserves credit for. And so even though people are going to avoid saying that anything he's doing is positive or what have you, who knows? I'm hoping history will show us whether that's true or not. But at the end of the day, I guess I'm icing up people who are breaking those norms, who are doing it against their will, most likely. Some of those people being those executives over at SNL that you're referring to there as well, Greg. So icing those guys up.
Well, and look, I'll add to that. Like to add to the ice up. Like if you look, you can believe your political beliefs all you want to, and people have the right to do that. I have no problem with you voicing your beliefs and everything like that. But when you are so political that you would wish harm on people just to be right or just to make somebody else look wrong, you're in the wrong. Period.
No matter what your beliefs.
Like if somebody you hate is doing something that is good, recognize them for doing something that is good. Stop hating on them so much that you want people to be hurt just so you can be right.
If you were happy to find out that Joe Biden has cancer, like that's kind of the stuff. Like if you can't have empathy for a guy who has clearly been taken advantage of by a party that he has dedicated his entire life to, whether you believe that he's been a good politician or not, those same things apply. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Like don't let your political beliefs. Don't let your political beliefs steer you in a direction of hating something just for the sake of hating something. If something is good, no matter who does it, it's good. Like don't because you don't like the person who did it doesn't mean that's not good.
Greg loves Bryce Young.
Like what's
Think about that? Think about that. Look, how about that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We're here every Tuesday night. We fam here. Everybody in the chat fam. It's real. And while the Panthers are our vehicle of talking, it's wonderful to hang out with everybody. We thank everybody for their time tonight. And that's all we ask for. You can subscribe. You can do all those different things. If you're listening this long into the show, you're already subscribed. I know that. But the Panthers, tonight's show is Carolina fighting for the season or just showing fight? We knucking and bucking and ready to fight, guys. It's been a great time hanging out. Hold on. Where the hell is
the outro?
I don't know. I don't even know what this is. This is it. We're out of here. I'm still here. We still here. We knock it and flavors of that bootylicious bubble, raspberry, grape, cherry. Looking for that honey bun. I clicked the end stream. And damn it. Oh, look.